Ladies and gentlemen, the Warbosses of the Apocalypse.
Hey!
All right.
That's me. Hello.
Hey!
Evening.
Oh, I thought it was going to be another M.
Strawberry filling.
But every descriptive word you used started with an M until you got to Tim.
He's
Yes.
different.
I'm currently dusting. I have feral orcs that have been sat there for a long time gathering dust. So I've got the trusty makeup brush, giving them a little dusting
Little bit of
before I'm
blush.
going to start. Yeah, get some paint on
Apparently, Scar's mic wasn't working, so you had the best intro there, but no audio to go with it. Hey!
them. She just had us responding to
Just
you.
you was responding to me.
Is it working now?
Welcome to the Warboss show.
Hey!
Would it be a Warboss show without a cock up? He means his
cock.
cock up. Yeah, that's the
How's it
worst.
sounding now, Junebug? Can you hear me now? Can you get that thick Irish accent into you? Oh. Navani's here as well. What's the crack, Navani? I have for today's hobby shenanigans an Orbamech. Oh,
You disappeared.
I've refound
Navani's
a lot of
here.
my,
The comment
orky
section just got
vehicles and miniatures and
10%
stuff.
more sensual.
But I've such as my Battlefleet Gothic ships. I've found my fleet again. I found a load of Ork miniatures that I have painted up, and I found like 80 something grots I built ages ago, and I was like, oh yeah, do you know what'd be mad? Oh, you got 3 mobs at 30 grots, or fucking 4 mobs at yeah, Jesus, there'd be no stopping me. And then of course you can't do mobs at 30 grots anymore, but alas, I shall no longer lament on this reduction on mob sizes. We shall move on in life to better and brighter things, most notably Battletech.
No, let's
Have
stick
you heard
around
of our
and
Lord
bitch
and Savior
about.
Battletech, my good sir?
Oh, why not touch on points or unit
Points.
competition?
Only points we'll be touching on apparently are sore ones, so we leave it at that. Fucking Jesus.
What hobbies everyone else doing at home? Tell us in the comments section.
Tell us in the comment section. We might actually get around to reading it for once. Holy Jesus.
Chat even.
So how's everyone keeping? How's the summer going? What hobby are you all doing, lads? Huh? Steve-O's
What do you
dusting. What's Dread drowning in paint?
I'm trying to do a little bit more on my grot tanks because I've been really lacking on the old hobby front for a while. Every time I sit down and get it out, I don't actually do anything.
You
Because-
consciously
about that
out
one,
grot
yeah.
tanks.
Just leave it there
Is that what
flaccid.
happens?
I think it's because it's a lot of like little detail bits and metallic bits. So it's like each thing that I pick out on each thing that needs doing is like a drop of paint or literally just one paintbrush worth. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to get that out, then I might as well find other things I need to use it on. And then you spend like 10, 15 minutes looking at other things. And then you go, oh, what was I actually, maybe I should do that instead. You know,
I think just give yourself permission to paint that one thing at a time. Just give yourself permission to do that.
That's basically what I need to do.
Permission.
I need to break that mental barrier and just crack on. Yeah. I said before though, I don't find it very easy to hobby, all the while I'm not productive in other things in life. So you know, hobby is like a reward for me rather than something I do to escape. So while I'm not busy with work and I've not got the phone off the hook ringing with customers, I find it difficult to sort of focus on hobby.
It's understandable.
That's just me. Oh no, it's not just me. I know other people are like that too. So.
I've never met anyone like that.
What's Sid working on today?
Egg cup.
It's a bucket.
But it's a bucket.
Oh, it's a stomper bucket.
It's actually a fetching hat.
Oh.
It's a boucher, actually.
I literally have an old rusty barbecue that needs to be thrown out. That is a tripod with it's an upside down cone. It's literally like that. Bit of charcoal wood, bit of grill. Fucking no stopping you.
It's basically me walking, talking, maybe just one day. Drinks dispenser.
Nice.
And what you can also do is you can take the lid off, fill it with ice, put a couple of bottles in. Romantic.
Speaking of drinks.
I mean, it will piss itself eventually, like, but you know.
I mean, if you
Dry
waterproof
ice.
that with like
Dry ice,
silicon,
pouring out.
yeah, and actually pull that off, that would be brilliant. Just a little tap in the arse of it just to drain it out, you know, when it's all melted. Fucking. We're going to the comment section. We have diddly-doo. Sci-fi saying here's foreign gibberish. Way DigiDevolution saying, wow. Gary Hauser trying to recover from all the damn storms in the area. And Junebug is saying custom making a tech priest manipulus. I don't know what that means. It's not orky. I blast it.
Yeah.
It's an orky style talkie toaster apparently.
Manipulus.
Manipulus. One of them things over there. The weird mechanical
shitty name.
What is with their naming? And it's so fucking frustrating. Half the fucking models in the range are just like, oh, jeez, I couldn't collect it because I couldn't fucking pronounce it.
Can I have one of them, please? Which one? That one there that you can't pronounce. Which one?
Exactly.
What's
Now,
them
is that too loud?
Which?
Did you hear that?
No, I can't hear it. You're grand, bud. If it's the old compressor going, you're grand.
Modern phones, man, that's good. They can
I thought
actually...
for a second there that Dim was trying to tie a very long shoelace there.
Don't do it, Dim. You've got so much to live for.
Get a thicker lace.
I've realised I'm working on GW this week, and it's just like, fine. Have we got a sturdy roof beam? Ah, that'll do.
Jesus.
I mean, this whiskey's helping. So.
Oh, he's been drinking. You know what that fucking means? Jesus. Batten down the fucking hatches, lads.
Right, no rules talk, no GW talk.
Right as tears.
Right. Oh, I see. You've been enjoying that, have you?
It's lovely.
Good
You
man.
need to
there
get
you
me
go.
another bottle.
What you got there, mate?
Right as tears, Irish whiskey.
Do you know all that
yeah.
whiskey I brought along to the meet that we didn't drink a
Yeah.
lot of because we were too busy playing fucking games?
Yeah. What nonsense
What
was that?
bollocks? What utter bollocks?
I get hammered for 3 days straight when I got home.
Just to get over it. It's like, oh, fuck
The
it.
levels were right off.
Damn fucking cunt.
Trying to make very, very fine scratch marks with a very fine brush with grey on black. Fucking difficult. I just know any minute I'm going to do that. I name big fat splodges by accident and ruin it.
Ah, you be grand.
Excellent Games Workshop instructions.
Remember, Dim, mouth near microphone.
Look at
But not-
these
but not
I
excellent
mean,
But not on microphone.
staples.
Unless you're
There's the-
sort of thing.
There's the join. There's
They're
the
not just
staples.
any instructions. They're Games Workshop extra special instructions.
GW's finest.
Can't buy me. I might buy into that.
Dorty.
Where's the fucking knife? I can't find 27. Building that stump brought us back with a few frustrating points in me past mind. I tell you that much.
The instructions in the stomper are arse gravy.
They're the worst I've ever seen.
Have
It
you
is
built a
literally-
Forge?
it is
Have you built a
literally
Forge
drawn
World
out.
model?
Oh, Jesus Christ. There's 2 A4 pages of various
Here's a-
pictures of it being built.
Here's a terrible photocopy of a picture of the
My
part.
man.
Right.
No, really though, if you,
She couldn't build it either.
I'm sure like China Forge do better instructions for fucking Forge World kits than Forge World did because they're literally just photocopied pages.
Mm-hmm.
Bleeding shocking.
Well, there's a reason why Forge World have kind of like disappeared because now that they've been amalgamated into Games Workshop, they're terrified of the Trade Descriptions Act and the word work. So,
Decent says he's building a runt herder.
Ooh.
Mafia
Wow,
is
no
saying
idea.
wah. Rock Lobster's here saying wah. Quite a few.
I would do it. I said I would. There it is. First splodge.
Looking forward
Ah.
to the next battle report, which is out on Thursday. Who is fighting in that one? Is that Clint and Dim?
That is Clint and Dim, yeah.
It
Yeah.
is, yeah. That'll be the last. That'll be last round one bat rep.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to watching that, Clint? Clint?
He doesn't say much anyway. You
Oh,
wouldn't know if
he's-
he was here or not.
Yeah.
We should just literally have a picture of him on one of the calls. Just
That'd be so funny.
oh, cardboard Clint. Where's cardboard Clint? Where is he? That has to be done. I'll leave that in your capable hands, Dim. Yeah, cardboard Clint.
The best thing is
Okay.
you can fold him up and fit him in your pocket.
We'll do that anyway.
You're a brave man. Jesus, he'll bite the fucking ankles off you next time he sees you.
Never antagonize a man with access to that many knives, I'm telling
No,
you.
Maffy A is asking, did any one of you get their Stomp Up Boys box yet? I'm still waiting for the dang thing.
I got
No.
did.
yeah by going to a friendly local. I'm not going to say hobby store. Yeah, it's not a gaming
Yeah,
store.
hobby store,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's obvious.
Just by putting the pre-order in there, but they did sell out pretty quick. In fact, they sold out before it was released with the orders and what have you.
Yeah, 2 weeks before it was released. I think I called a week before it was due to release, and they were like, sorry about you, bud.
I'm a bit gutted that I missed out on the knobs, the made-to-order knobs. It's about the only thing in the last sort of 10 years that GD was put out that I was very excited about. But then I did see the price and I was like,
Yeah.
There was an
delusional.
absolutely brilliant meme about these metal dreadnoughts where someone was like, so these metal dreads, someone was like, oh yeah, GW bring back the nostalgia I had of not being able to afford the miniatures. You know what I mean? Fucking- I was like, that was
That's quite good.
gold. That's absolute gold. Like,
True, though.
I mean, the thing is, though, is that, like, that Death Dread, when it came out, was, like, 18 quid? Inflation-wise, it's definitely far more inflated. Than...
Yeah,
It
GW
probably
prices
should
are, they are over inflation rates.
Mm.
They are.
Well, our fucking wages aren't.
No, I
So,
know.
Fuck that shit. Like, I was tempted to buy them, and I was like, the price, they just priced me out. Like, there's no way. Like, I really wanted them knob ones, but, like, to be honest, I probably couldn't have afforded to get them.
How much were the knobs? And are they resin or metal?
They were like-
metal.
They
No,
were
metal.
but they were
55, I think.
They're extortionate. I probably would have been better. I'll probably be better off waiting like 6 months and going on eBay.
Don't know.
So what's the crack? You said you've missed out on them. Have they done like a limited run on them?
They did a limited made-to-order run. It's already stocked, I think.
Okay.
Mhm.
Unless it hasn't happened yet, because I checked the website and they weren't even there. So
So they
maybe
did a
it
limited
happened
order
now.
run of the Second Aid Commandos Third Ed Knobs box set, which is 5, and then the third edition Death Dread, which was a mixed bag of miniatures to see. It was a very odd selection, but I mean, they were grand.
Yeah, the
have
commandos
to
stood
buy
out
them
like
all.
a sore thumb, didn't they?
No, you could buy them individually. Like,
I hadn't sort of said in this one big bucket.
It was strange that
Well,
they
the price
didn't
of
do the
£4.99.
third edition commandos. It's all like sticking.
I mean,
with the
to be
same
honest,
theme.
given the look of the current commandos, the second-hand ones probably fit in better. To be honest, like,
Well, I mean,
yeah, they've got power axes which don't really fit, but like
Well, the other
they've
ones
got the
in
mock
overalls with
SA
beanie hats.
yeah, the mock SAS outfits
Yeah.
fit better with the current models. They're just a bit small.
they've all got power axes. Yeah.
I think I've got an acrylic painting that I've done out of an old one of those commandos. Well, I started, never actually got it finished, I think.
But also, if I recall,
in the red with a beanie hat and all that, somewhere I think in the loft in an old
if I recall correctly, third ed commandos either weren't a thing, or they were like metal parts on the boys' kit.
I don't think so.
Technically, they no longer sell.
I think Third Commandos didn't exist. We got actual commandos in 4th edition when City Fight came out, which were the previous box set that got phased out by the current plastics. So we had those commandos from 4th edition up to what? 9th, was it?
They're nice. They're nice miniatures. Those.
The metal ones were nice. It was good when they originally came out because you could buy. Do you remember GW? Do you remember with Games Workshop? You used to buy like a unit, and then the specialist weapons you'd buy in blister packs. So you'd buy like 2 Bornas or 2 Rocket Dudes or Bomb Squigs and stuff like that. So you'd buy the original Commando unit, and then you would buy blister packs of your specialist weapons. So you could have like Bornas. You could have. I think there was one with a rocket and one with a big shooter.
I used to hate having to fill out any squad with blister pack stuff. It just costs so much.
I don't know. I like that format.
Well, it's a different selling format. I suppose it was limited by the technology at the time that they couldn't get as much on sprues. So in order to get the specialist weapons into your units, you'd have like your core boys sprue, and then you'd be bolting on stuff after it. In fact, I even found my 3rd edition Stormboy torsos and backpacks with some of them anyway. Jeez, I don't know where they are now. But I'm surrounded by miniatures at the moment. But it was the same sort of concept where it was literally like plastic arms, legs, and heads from the boys' kit, and then just a metal torso and a metal backpack, and away you went. There was no stopping. So they're doing these releases. They're doing these limited reruns or re-releases. What miniature, if they were going to bring back, would you want brought back for a limited run? Any now, Forge World or 40k? Which one would you want brought back?
Good question.
I know that one. It's a Forge World one that I never got the chance to get. I don't even know what it's called. It's the big fuck off battle wagon kill tank crusher.
Hill Crusher, yeah.
The one that had the lift off lid and you had stuff inside it. It's like the loaders and I've seen pictures. I've seen pictures. We've all seen pictures. But I've never seen it in the flesh. And,
I've seen it in the flesh. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Well, I didn't ask, but it's it's just. I just want to see the flesh bred a bit like you. No, I'd love to have one of those. I'm sure they cost a fortune if you can find one online or something.
It's one of those miniatures that, like, everybody that's an Ork collector wants, and yet you would think it would be a sensible idea to bring it back because they would get the orders, especially on a limited run. But it must have just destroyed their mold. It must have just got ruined.
It didn't stay in production as long as they kill Borster or Blaster.
So when they made that, they broke the mold.
They must have. It didn't last very long. Quite figuratively and maybe literally.
We might just have to build them ourselves. Let's all build one for a challenge. Let's all.
Well, there is. Who is it?
I'm like, let's do another challenge, lads. Let's do something simple. Oh, Knobs one. Yeah. Sid, let's build a fucking mega tank.
I would be up for that one as it goes. There is somebody that's made a version. Brumby D, one of our members.
Brumby, what?
He's on. One of our members has actually made the Kill Crusher himself, and it's pretty good. And I think He's even cast it so you can buy it off him.
Ooh.
It's his own version of it. It's not like
Yeah,
exactly the same. Pretty good. It's a bit
Well,
like when Waz did the battle wagon and the old battle wagon, the battle fortress, and the kill tank and stuff himself as well. When they sort of come less available, he made his own version of them, and I've got a couple of his versions of things.
Nice. Dim, what miniature would you bring back?
Humming and hawing over a few options. The Gorkamorka Red Gobble leaps to mind immediately. Even though I've already got it, I'd probably buy a couple more.
Yeah, so
Great mini.
What was I'm going to show me sort of like ignorance of absence here. What was the Gorkamorka Red Gobble? Was right.
Like that, but not a silhouette. There we are.
Yeah.
Ah, so like that, but in focus.
Yeah.
Now with Technicolor.
I've got. Where's mine? Mine should.
Yeah, no, I've not got that. I've got a facsimile.
The first Red Gobble that they did as a limited edition thing, if you get rid of the Santa shit off it's pretty accurate. It's pretty close, apart from the stupid hat. I don't like the hat at all, but the rest of it is good.
I converted that one as well.
What has he got?
If you ignore the candy cane staff and the stupid pistol.
I was going to say Tim, that was so out of focus. I couldn't see any of his Christmas decorations.
I did. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the one, the Christmassy one. That I've changed it up and made him a bit more Russian looking.
Yeah, nice.
Well, hang on.
Focus is shit.
I still find it amusing that I bought you one of them, Dre, but I didn't bother buying myself one. I was like,
Also,
Dre will appreciate this. Here you go.
Well,
also, this is just for my own delectation. I don't give a shit about anyone else getting them, but I really liked the metal second edge Gretchen.
Oh yeah, they are superior to the plastic ones in there.
Getting the auto gun ones rather than the auto pistol knife ones, really fucking hard. I only have 20, and I've been trying to collect them for a long time. And I always keep an eye out on eBay to get more. They're really, really hard to come by. Because the thing is that I've always wanted to make like, yeah, that's it. But
I've given him a sword and a hat.
Yeah,
because his weapon snapped off.
It tends.
But I think the custom slugger that the Red Gobble has is the best orc weapon the GW's ever done. I just love it. I think it's
looking or
just best looking one. It just looks really, really good. At least I might not be able to kind of go. I'd probably maybe have to consider excluding anything big enough to be on a vehicle, or close combat weapons as well, just to make it fairer. But it's definitely the coolest sort of small arms that orcs have ever done.
I don't know, that sort of 50 cal big shooty that you used to get with the Death Dread, the metal Death Dread, that's an absolute mint weapon. I've seen it used in so many.
I quite like the not AKs they did for the Rebel Grots.
Oh yeah, they're mint as well. Actually, yeah, Jesus, I forgot about them.
And yeah, actually, come to think of it, yes, the head honcho on Banner Waver from the just basically all the Rebel Grot Gorkamorka stuff. Mm-hmm. I'll just put my vote to that.
Can I just, because you mentioned the not AKs.
Yeah,
I did get these.
Way.
I've got a bunch of
It's painted black.
I've got a bunch of AKs that I think Foxbox made, which I don't know if Ramshackle has them on. Has got them on Ramshackle.
That's from Zinj.
Oh, I've got
yeah. Zinj do really, really nice weapons.
And they've got lovely little bits of detail on them.
Mm.
I've had them for ages. They're just sitting in a box.
Also do M16s and L85s.
Nice.
A load of little pistols like Mausers and Desert Eagles and stuff like that, which are pretty cool.
I've got one orc with a ZF1. someone sculpted it. It was I don't know who actually sculpted it, but the green one, he sent me a copy of it. It's pretty cool. I'm using him as a looter.
Nice. Sid, what miniature would you bring back?
I would go with the, like I mentioned before, the big tank.
The big massive tank to kill, crush it.
Big kill crusher, yeah. I mean, I know it's not really a miniature.
Well, look, I think all's
As
fair
such.
in the miniature wargaming hobby we're in, so.
Yeah.
Are we going to discuss next build along project or?
Well, probably after everybody's answered, Dread.
Yeah, Jesus, God
No,
forbid.
no, he's all
God forbid he'd stay on target.
He's all
What's
pumped
that?
up on
What?
olives.
Stay on target.
Oh, then carry on.
Fucking-
But didn't get fucking arsey.
But yeah, I also have ideas for that too.
Whoa,
Yes.
Stay on point, so fucking move.
Trying to make this an organised show or something. What's going on?
Well, since you're yapping away there, Dred, what did you pick? What would you have picked as a miniature to bring back under GW limited release?
Well, I said Kill Crusher first, before Sid, because I knew he was going to.
I mean, the two is
I thought
pick
it
the
was-
same
I thought it was
miniature.
Sid.
It's not like, you know.
but beyond that-
Sid was asked. You weren't.
I know. I just answered first.
Yeah, but, so I get the point because it was my question. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you
lucky
go.
man, play the game.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The Ork Prospector from Gorka Morka.
That's a,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a
That
good one
fucking
as well,
backpack
yeah.
was
That's decent.
unbelievably cool.
Yeah.
His name I can
I've
never
got the
remember.
miniature. I just don't have the backpack anymore. I don't know what the fuck happened to the backpack. It's the best part of it, and I don't have
The
it.
backpack was amazing. It was one of the best backpacks they ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you are probably staring at the screen going, aficionados of backpacks all of a sudden. Yeah, we used to be like that back in the days when mail order was a thing and you could see all the individual parts. And there were so many cool parts that used to sort of kit bash together. GW even used to do you remember when they did they would feature a conversion in like White Dwarf or the Citadel Journal, and then they'd give you a special order thing to order the same sort of mail order parts that had been used. Do you remember when they did that? That was I miss those days. Those were cool days.
Peak hobby days.
I don't know if I had to pick an actual individual mini. There's probably loads like the larger ones from back when I was a kid that I had and never got the best out of because one, I never pinned anything. Two, I rarely undercoated anything. So paint used to fucking fall off in clumps. And I just used to use as much arrowdite as I could just to hold them together, which was never for very, very long. I think there's a few I could probably do better with, like filling gaps and stuff, all this weird shit I do now that I didn't used to. Maybe I wouldn't mind all four of the original metal Greater Demons. Like one of each, because I never got any of those to stay together. I don't mean like as a group, like they'd always argue and fall out. I mean like drop the Great Unclean one and these massive long skinny arms are going shooting off and his belly would crack in two and the one big bull in suspenders would lose his middle arms and all that sort of carry on. So yeah, I wouldn't mind those back. But they were £4 each.
Back in those days, Jesus, you could get a mortgage for £4 back in the day.
Yeah.
My God.
You say that, but I can always remember, even when I was young, that the GW spray paints were over a tenner. I'm sure they were. Don't remember ever being under a tenner.
It's certainly never been cheap.
I don't
Ever.
remember having spray paints back in the day.
Yeah, I think they were.
I used to use spray paints, but just for spraying Lego toys. Before I'd stuck loads of extra guns on them and went, "This is for orcs." Ah.
Why does it look like there's the police have just pulled up outside your place or something? Said you've got like blue lights flashing in your gaff.
Got the telly on next to us.
Oh,
So
He's
at
watching the
10:30,
bill.
I'd pause for match of the day, and I'd watch that after we finished recording.
please camera action in the background there.
Yeah, I don't know
It's
what
on
it is.
UK
It's a
Gold
nightclub
watching the
scene.
bill.
Police interceptors.
Yeah, what would
Tonight.
I pick? I like the Chin Ork as a model you can build yourself, but the miniature was fucking dire. Sweet mother of Jesus. What would I want brought back? Probably Forge World.
Or just in general?
The Forge World. The Forge World Battle Fortress. Oh, the big Battle Fortress with the big death roller, the big huge one, like.
Yeah, the one Steve
I
owns is
almost said
required.
that.
It's an exceptional choice.
One of them.
I'd
I think
love
that'd be
one of those
cool
as well.
looking. Imagine seeing like loads of them on the battlefield. Be mint.
I mean, if I could bring anything back from like the early 90s, I think it would be GW's attitude.
Oh, right in the fields.
Oh.
Right in the bleeding fields.
Oh.
Not wrong,
And
though,
this
is he?
This is a Tampon box. Let's make an Eldar castle. It's like,
I might just be a horrendous fanboy and just go, just Andy Chambers, that'll do.
and you'd be good for making an Eldar fortress out of a Tampon box because they're all stuck up cunts.
Hey.
But,
The old Pringles tube watchtowers. Yeah.
yeah,
I made a few of them in my
all
time.
tanks and all that.
Cereal boxes terrain. Yep. Good times.
Jumpers
Do you
for
remember
gold
that?
bush.
Do you remember this?
All
I feel
the
like
fields.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Peter Kay. Do you remember this?
Moss.
Slides along the floor. Do you remember this?
That is Peter Kay. I've remembered something.
Where are they? Where are they? The best fucking thing. Where are they?
What, the cactus or the cacti?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be the cactus in it.
They're just so fucking good.
I have the Catachan Codex to hand. Great place for them.
Where are we? Yeah, there we are. The good old cactus.
Hmm.
I can line up the bloody picture. I'm terrible at this.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
not remotely
Yeah.
close. There you go.
There we are.
There we go. There we go.
There
There it is.
There it is.
Out of focus and all. On brand, Dave, on brand. Good man
just
yourself.
like the 90s.
Now you know why I don't have any fucking videos out, because I decided to do a fine detail hobby channel without the talent to be able to film fine detail. If you wonder why there's no videos from me, that's fucking why. 'Cause
Step
every
one.
single video I tried to
Put your
make
screen
was a
where you
fucking
can see it.
disaster.
Yeah.
Right.
And your microphone where we can hear you.
Well, the mic's in the kitchen. The
This
screen's in the
microphone-
room, I'm in
this
the garden.
microphone didn't-
That's Tommy.
This microphone didn't used to be that sensitive. That's the thing that I don't understand. At some point, it's just
it's a
decided.
It's
Cardioid
just like
mic.
feelings, isn't it?
You have to look at the envelope of where it catches sound from and where it doesn't. So there's dead spots. That's all. It's a great mic. It sounds really good. You just need to know where you speak into it.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Is it the front? Like that bit?
No, it actually does make a difference whether he's talking to the top or the side of a microphone.
Yeah,
Single-
that's it.
Wing. No, I don't know. I don't know.
Is it? I don't
Most of the time it works. So
I used to have one of them pop guards over mine, like one of the things to stop you from fucking getting too close and like, you know, making and
well, this one has a pop guard. That's what the
Well, getting
And
too
scratch
close
bits
and
out.
blowing people's eardrums out with your plosives.
yes.
I would bring back upgrades that Forge World used to do. Like, remember the tracked upgrade for the truck and the enclosed cab.
Oh
and
yeah, I have them
all the
actually.
bits
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, they did some really cool bits. I mean, I would say the Battle Fortress because that's the best Ork vehicle ever.
But I've already got one, so
Nob-
I don't
no-
wish for it.
Knob bikers as well. Have they not? They've gone quite a while ago, didn't they?
I
yeah.
don't. I think it was quite recently. I bought some at Forge World, and I thought at the time they were 65 quid.
I
They
wouldn't
were.
miss the fucking price tag on them. I never have. Every
Nah.
time I've looked at them, I've
Yeah.
gone, oh, And
But-
they've just gotten more and more expensive, and I'm
You
like,
get-
oh,
you got-
Yeah,
look,
but
you
until
got
you
the
look at that
extra-
price tag, you look at the miniatures.
my God,
and
yeah,
like,
these aren't
oh,
too bad
they are.
for half the
they're-
price.
They're tasty. They
Well,
are.
you
they are
got
nice.
a set of like bikes in there. Obviously, it was quite a lot of upgrades. I found it easy enough to get like 6
Yeah.
bikers out of one box of them and another box
Yeah.
of bikers.
I mean, that was the good thing about those like truck conversions or upgrades was basically for some of them the only thing you used was like the base chassis of the truck,
Yeah.
and you had the rest of it like free because you got a whole truck kit plus the resin bits. I must
Well,
find me resin.
not-
I do.
not-
I have them somewhere. I have a
not that
track
I-
one and an
I-
enclosed cab. I just don't know where the fuck I put them.
And that was when when giving the tracks would actually give it that benefit, wouldn't it, over like difficult terrain and stuff.
Yeah.
alright.
So it wasn't just a cosmetic thing.
Well,
I think
I'm
later
not
on
gonna
it became a
condone this sort
cosmetic
of
thing, but,
behaviour. But you can still get, but because Forge World no longer do them, and also as Dim mentioned, no longer Forge World, certain Forgery World companies do still do those trucks.
Yeah.
In full resin with all the extra bits and that. I've not had any of the trucks, but the decent prices. I think they work out about $20 to $25. I don't know if you'll get the bits for the special truck, or if you'll get the truck plus the extra bits. You know what I mean? I don't know if they do the full truck kit in resin, then the extra bits, or if it's just what you need to make that truck. But either way, £25 for a special truck. It's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
If you know moral.
Is anyone in the live
Simon?
chat? Have they?
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
just
we've got
about to
quite a
say
few
we'll
there,
go over and
suggestions.
see what people are saying, and then we'll get on to the challenge talk with Red. So, what were people saying in the comment section? What did they want brought back? Tommy Mack is saying he'd like a metal Nazgul Warzag.
That's the scrap prospector, isn't it? I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, Wurzelg, yeah. Because it always every time I read it, I was like, Wurzel damage, kind of maybe no.
So if I'm
Because
saying
he's like,
Chaos Dwarf Blood Bowl team with Bull Centaurs or Mad Boys, he'd want brought back. I also said some Necromunda heavy backpacks were excellent. Yeah, you could buy bits.
Si's
from
got
there.
a very, very strong one towards the end as well.
I think I've seen it to start with them.
It
Big
starts
models
with
used to come with
NB.
build your own runes polystyrene trade. The made to order minis don't come with it all. This is true. This is very true. Bring back Necromunda Bulkheads. Holy Jesus, yeah. Wasn't
Best thing
one of
GW
the
ever did.
gargants that they had literally made from like mostly Necromunda Bulkheads?
I've seen one or two that have done that. Yeah, I think Adrian Wood did that with his, possibly.
What's that?
I know
The big-
Mouse
the
Muffin
big
did one like
battle
using that.
wagon thing. I'm sure in this third codex, what they did. The,
Yeah, he also
battle-
used it on his battle wagon. Yeah,
Yeah,
Mhm.
did the battle wagon with the bulkheads, which still there it is. There you go. Yeah, fucking hell, that is sexy as hell. Still looks incredible today.
ah, yes, the old conversion picture.
Look at that.
page.
That's a sexy.
Why is it in
vehicle.
focus?
You put that
What's
on
going on?
you put that on the table today. People are still going to be impressed with that.
It
That
would
is
be, yeah, man. Look at it.
gorgeous. Although I do dislike how the paint roller
Looks like a
on
toilet roll.
here still looks like a paint roller. It's like he hasn't finished it. Maybe he didn't.
I still,
What if that was a
and every time I see a
designer
custom-made
choice?
death roll, it brings me to the first conversion that I specifically remember seeing, and it was a looted Land Raider that had a load of the old Yop bottle lids all glued together in a
Yop.
row, and
Yeah,
it
mama.
looked brilliant. I was like, "What's it made of?" Oh, it's made from Yop lids. Yeah, they must have drank like a crate and a half of the bleeding things to get like about 6 inches of it. But it was just
God, that was a tasty drink.
it was good stuff, man. The lids aren't the same anymore. Like, I mean, like the 90s lids, they were mint. One of the best conversions I remember seeing. Malignus the Undying King says Grot Sponsons he wouldn't mind having back. They weren't bad at all, yeah.
Always useful.
The Forge World Grot kit was pretty good. In fact, I believe the last version of that ever sold was sold to Dim. You bought the ones out of the cabinet, didn't you?
Oh, the grot. Yes, I did. Yeah, I got the ones in the cabinet. of the
Oh, the crew,
the
like
Grot
20
Crew, yeah, the Grot Crew pack, which I still think, okay, slightly conspiracy theorist, but like they got rid of that because Orc players were making their own guns from scratch.
Oh yeah,
Because
and
they
just
thought
crewing
that
them.
getting rid of crew would stop Orc players making their own, which is about the stupidest thing they could possibly do. Because for one thing, there's an awful lot of Orc players that don't actually care about grots anyway, but also they'll just use the Gretchen sprue. Like there's like you can't stop Orc players making their own shit.
You
Like,
won't.
The thing is, though, if they turn around and say, right, we're not going to make the Grot crew anymore, and that way they won't be able to make their own guns because they won't have the crew, and then half a dozen to a dozen or more different third-party companies go, we make Grot crew, and you go, hey, I'll buy them off you then.
Yeah.
And it's,
yeah, exactly.
what's the
Great
point?
point.
I don't understand the rationale. We'll not make them, so you can't have them. We'll make them. Ah, fuck.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Like if Coca-Cola stopped making Coca-Cola, so people couldn't have Coca-Cola, and you just see the sales of Pepsi going through the roof.
Isn't that what happened? They stopped Coca-Cola Classic back in the 80s or something, didn't they?
Yeah, changed
I
to
know why.
new Coke.
New Coke, yeah. And then they had Tab Clear and everything was okay.
Tab Clear. And Crystal
Tab Clear.
Pepsi.
What in the J? What?
Yeah, it was a soda made from Coca-Cola. It was like sort of like a clear Coke.
This deserves a Google search. Is this like
Yeah.
Pepsi Crystal, is it?
Yeah. They both went into it. There's a good video about it actually. How it's really it's interesting stuff actually.
New from Coca-Cola,
story
Tab
of
Clear.
that.
Well, this screams 80s. Was it 80s?
Yeah, I would have been, yeah.
It
If
was
not
quite
very
tasty
early
actually.
90s.
It was quite tasty.
Special price 29 pence.
1992 it was.
I miss Virgin Cola. Virgin Cola.
You only have it once, so.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was nice, but after one sip, it was flat. You had your first taste, and you were like, "Ah, it's nice that."
Still
and then the
sweeter
second
than
thing, completely
still
flat.
sweeter than any cola that's ever been on the market before or since.
Yeah, well, it
That's
was
really,
alright.
really liked it.
Sainsbury's cola used to be good.
The
Yeah,
classic cola was
classic
nice.
cola, yeah.
What were the cola bottles that
Hang
you
on a
could buy
minute.
in, like the 3-litre ones, the big huge ones?
Well, classic cola, I think.
Was
Yeah,
it?
Sainsbury's did do that. Most of them did it. Like there was quite a few companies that did do that. You could get Coca-Cola in those big bottles back in those days. That was before the days of the sugar tax, of course. But yeah,
Fucking
you could.
sugar tax.
Yeah, I was used to get the shit pops in big 3-litre bottles now, like Roller Cola and Panda Pop and stuff like that, and muckle big bottles that wouldn't even fit in the fucking fridge. Yeah, I sit them on top so it was always warm and all.
I mean,
it's shit
Why
and
don't
it's warm.
they
That's
just
my-
go to full hog and just have a fun tax.
Yeah,
Just an enjoyment of life tax. There you go.
I don't give the
Just-
Tories ideas. They're still going to be in for at least 3 months.
Don't even bleeding go there for the love of Christ.
Stay on
Breathing air
target.
tax.
Fucking stay on bleeding target. Talking about staying on target. Dread, you wanted to talk about the next challenge. You fucking hoe.
I just wanted to say
Don't
before we
even
move
go
on,
there.
before we
I'll put
move
you
on
the
from
wild
the
step now, I will.
bringing
Tell you.
stuff back, before we move on from the bringing stuff back, I would like to bring Matt Ward back so he can stand trial for crimes against the English language.
Here, you bollocks.
There we
The thing is, they've brought back a lot of what I would like them to have brought back, like the Third Ed Dread that I couldn't afford while the limited time while it was available. Unfortunately, they picked a terrible time for me to release this stuff. Bastards.
Yeah.
And the Fantasy Orc Boys.
Are they limited run as well, are they?
No. They're just out.
No, it's just Old World is going to fail spectacularly and it's all going to go away. So,
As ever, Dean, a font of enthusiasm.
It's. I think it seems to be doing surprisingly well.
it's marketed to fanboys. Fanboys will masturbate endlessly over it. That doesn't assume it's going to be a success.
No, I think it's. Don't know. It's going.
I've seen
to
it
be,
best mixed reviews from
but-
people online talking about it. So
It's going to be. like what the Horus Heresy was to 40k. I think
I don't think so.
it's
It'll never be as successful as that. It would.
no, it won't.
It wasn't even
but,
originally, so
I mean,
it'll never be that.
because it's fantasy for one, and it's never going to be as successful as the sci-fi range.
I don't think it'll stick around. I mean, I'd be delighted because, you know, we're online to get a whole load of really good kits back. But I mean, they're just keeping some of the iconic races out of the game because they don't want to use the same kits in 2 different games for OCD reasons. So like, they're not going to let the Skaven in, which, like, all right, so you're going to have Warhammer Fantasy, but without the one fun faction. All right, dickheads, spin on.
What do you mean the one fun faction?
They're the only fun faction in Warhammer Fantasy. The rest of it was boring,
You've got
serious
goblins.
shit. Goblins weren't fun. They were just power
Night
gaming
Goblin
bollocks.
armies were hilarious. Get away
They
with
were
that.
bullshit. They always made those fanatics way too
Fuck's
good.
sakes, they were
And then they
brilliant.
were a
They were even
crutch.
funnier when they went into their own bleeding units as well.
They could be occasionally fun. The problem was almost every time I came up against an Orc and Goblin player who had Night Goblins, they were a sweaty power gaming twat.
Well,
As
not
they
all of us
attracted them like
thankfully had that experience,
flies.
and I found that Night Goblin players were actually quite fun. You know.
Yeah.
But alas, again, Dread, you wanted to talk about the new build challenge.
Oh yeah, I was curious. We are talking about it publicly now, I suppose. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to go for my suggestion of a set of 5 knobs, or Sid's suggestion of a kill crusher, or what?
I wasn't serious.
Legends units.
I like the idea of Legends units. I like the idea of a Knob Squad. Either of those works for me.
Legends unit is too open though. There's too many things in that section.
Yeah, I know. It means we can actually make something we want to make.
I think that's a fair point from Steve.
Yeah.
It's keeping it kind of loosey goosey so that people aren't forced to build something that they probably won't use.
And a kill crusher, I want to actually be able to achieve it in time. I
That is
think
also
I don't think anyone was seriously suggesting that.
a kill
Oh,
crusher.
Dread totally was.
Yeah,
It-
it totally was.
I mean,
yeah,
I don't
an
think
ambitious, unachievable idea. Of course,
I
it
was
was.
going to
Yeah,
I was placing it all on Sid, but if anyone agreed to it, I was going to jump on it. I was like,
I might as well place it all on Sid. He'll be the only fucker that builds one.
Well, him and Clint,
I know,
let's be
yeah.
honest.
Excuse me.
Tune in 2032 for the
There's
results.
3 of us who normally finish. You fucking cunts.
Oh, I love it.
Hey, out of 3, I finished 2.5 of them. I'll have you know.
Just because my Zodgrod one was half baked at one time. If you think that makes up for your fucking entry words, behold a quality street box with some bits in it.
Yeah, but I got loads of fucking stick for that. But at least it was something. And other people didn't even show up, and they got off scot-free. I'm like, hang on a minute. At least I'm fucking here.
Oh, they got shit too. But there's one I would quite like to do, but I don't think we should do it necessarily next. But there is a way that you could open up the knobs. Means it's cock.
I mean, this sounds kinky and brutal.
But like, it's from back in the day of For My Sins. I used to
brutal, kinky and brutal. Oh, that'll be in the Navani Codex.
Yeah. This one's brutal and kinky.
Yeah,
'cause it's a spike, but it's lubed. For My Sins,
power claws, I mean power dongs.
We're gonna have to do another stay on. I think I'm gonna have to do another.
Tell you what,
Stay on target.
That knob on with the stabber. It's not going to take much green stuff in to make that variant.
but yeah, For My Sins, I used to be a War Machine player. Half of the problem is accepting you have one. I've probably said that phrase wrong, but there was in one of the No Quarter, which is their magazine they used to have back when they were relevant, which is a long time ago. They used to have like it's one of the I remember it because it's one of the rare times that Private Data Press, who make War Machine, ever encouraged any of their players to do anything resembling hobby that wasn't paint this miniature literally how we told you to build it, with precisely the correct arms. But they had an idea called the cadre, which was like you made an elite unit of a particular type to go with your army. And in War Machine, you kind of mix and match. It's actually 40k these days seem like it's playing catch up to like the War Machine of the early noughties with like how army composition works is very, very familiar to me. But I like this idea of taking any unit that you were going to add to your army and just giving it a little spin to make it an elite version of that. Because it was one of the things that got me thinking about, like, because when this edition was being hyped, and I knew it wouldn't amount to much, but they were saying the return of the retinue, and obviously it was a flat fart, like I fully expected it to be. But it does open up an opportunity of, if you've got a character that you're going to add to your unit, you could customize that unit to stand out a little bit more than the other units of that type would.
Oh, totally.
Because it's got that character coming into it. I think that could be a good idea for a challenge.
Super Grots with Zodgrod, anyone?
Yeah, exactly. Super Grots was the thing that left to mind immediately. But just the idea of doing that with any character. So if you're going to... what can Pain Boys join? Is it just boys? Or can they join knobs? Because you could make cyborgs.
Yeah.
You know? Just like stuff like that. I think that could be quite a cool thing to do, like a retinue squad.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. It's a cool idea.
That's my idea.
Well, it's actually mine, but yeah, sure.
Never forget the golden rule. It's always Dim's idea. No, Dreads. How dare I?
Yeah, it is always my idea.
One job, Scott. One job.
I know. I even fucked that up.
So Knob Squad then, yeah.
Well, yeah, but you could do the knob. You could do a knob squad as part of that. Although I would be down for doing a knob squad.
Well, who doesn't need a knob squad at the end of the day?
Well, I'm guessing you've already decided you're doing the knob thing, right? You're doing that knob formation or whatever it's called. Bully Boys. There we go.
I was about to say, aren't knobs very meta at the moment?
I know. I'm leaving my list. I'm leaving my list as it pretty much is.
Oh, you know.
All of a sudden, my freebooters have got a load of knobs that have just turned up. It's funny that
we could like finish flyers or something like that. You know what I mean? Something anti-meta. We'll get flyers into our list, but you know,
I'm going to stick with the list.
Almost finished being painted.
Just as it goes, my list is very mixed, so it doesn't really lend itself to any of those new formations, really.
My team is tracks, guys. You know, such a strong team. Do away with that.
I might stick with the. It's not Wild Tribe anymore. It's whatever it's called.
Wild Tribe,
what Wild Tribe was?
Warhorde.
No, they changed it. Warhorde. That's it. Yeah.
Much
Wild Tribe sounded better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I might just stick with that because in order to do the Bully Boys, you need to for it to be actually worth doing. You need to have quite a few. At which point your army's just knobs and mega knobs, which is boring.
And it's about I priced up like a 2,000 point army of Bully Boys, and it worked out at like 900 and something quid. It was mad.
Do you think? I think this is the one downside of these detachment rules. I think they've done a fantastic. This is the best Ork Codex we've had in a very, very long time.
Low bar, but all right.
Yeah, but I think it's a fucking good codex. The detachment rules are really cool, fluffy, and
well, the 9th one was dog shit. It's the only one I didn't buy. So
they're getting worse and worse. There's a reason why I'm not buying them anymore.
That's not true. That's just a cliche. Repeat, rinse and repeat what you hear.
Such a hipster view.
Yeah, it's not
such a hipster view that's been around for fucking decades.
Compare this codex.
Kidding yourself.
I'm not kidding myself. Dread, believe it. What I'm trying to do is complete a sentence and just express a different viewpoint to you. This codex is clearly better than the last three or codexes in terms of fluffy, fun rules that are really thematic and good on the tabletop. There's some really cool stuff in there. But the point I was trying to make before we got sidetracked in arguing over a codex was good, is the detachment rules. I think they're really cool, but I think people grasp onto them too much. And this is obviously going to happen because of, you know, the competitive nature of, or the perceived competitive nature of the community in that. But I think people
perceived.
They draw too much to it. They say like, oh, because I'm going bully boys, I need to fully focus my list around that and buy nothing but knobs and mega knobs and everything of it. Nothing to say you can't put some Def Dreads in there or some Grots in there or whatever else in there that's not necessarily going to benefit from them rules. But I guess this is just like the way people take stuff on now. They're like, I'm going to have to just go down that avenue 100%, which is cool if you want to do that. But what I'm saying is you don't need to. It's just the way I see these detachments is that you can just add a little bit of flavor to your army. And if you pick one that happens to fit your list currently, then all the better. But I think you can just use them to add a bit of flavor and a bit of interest and a bit of fun to your list. You don't need to go down that full like. I'll be using stuff like Dread Mob list wise. I'll be using stuff in my army that has no benefit. I'll still be putting my Squig Hog boys in there and stuff. You know.
Yeah, I like to do that too, but I do think that the way they've written these new detachment rules makes it almost as if you really almost have to go down that road. It's designed that way. That is how they're selling their miniatures now. So they make it so that this rule applies to this and this only. Go and buy a lot of those to make this list work, or this list here. Go and buy a lot of these and these. It's designed in that sense, you know. I think so. To say it's the best codex in a while is a massively long shot for me, because this is.
What do you think? Do you think the 8th edition one was better then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Tell you,
what would you have been saying now if they didn't have any detachments that added any kind of like fluff and thematic lists?
The very simple reason why this is the worst codex ever is because it's in 10th edition and we don't have points in order to purchase things, so everything is like that. I'm sorry that everyone's got over that now and they're okay with it. I'm still not. I think it's shit.
I would have liked if we had clan rules in addition to the formations as well. You know what I mean? If we had like, well, you've painted your guys up as blood axes, and you know, so you have a blood axe rule and you can use your formation.
I'm kind of glad to see the back of clans.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they weren't executed well. I think they were a good idea. I think they could have been executed better. And I think if they went old school with it, where you weren't restricted, so your shooting stuff would probably be bad moons, because that's what bad moons do. You know, maybe your sneaky stuff is going to be blood axe. Mobs, your boys are going to be goth because they're harder, that sort of thing. You know what I mean? I would have liked if they did it that way, because that ties back into the old school way of things.
Well, you can do it that way now, can't you? Because the way they've done it by getting rid of the clans as a rule, it's back to clans being law. So you've got your sort of like, I mean, it's the way I've always done I've never really focused on one particular clan. If it was something that was shooty, I generally painted it yellow. If it was something that was crumpy, I painted it black. If it was something that was more ramshackly cobbled together, I would go blue, because that was Deffskullz for me. And you know what? Commandos, blood axe, you can do all that now, and you can stick them all together without somebody going, oh, these are all different, aren't they? So what's going on here? So you know, look, it's a green tide detachment, whatever. Yeah, exactly. Because why's our mixture of all the different clans? Maybe it's not at the very, very start.
I think you absolutely could get a monoclan war. I think it's very unlikely, but
it won't stay that way.
No, yeah, as it goes, more and more will join.
Yeah,
or it'll just get battered by.
But the advantage,
a multi-clan war, which
the advantage as a hobbyist is that you can decide at what point in the trajectory of your war it is. You could permanently place it on a precipice of before any of the other clans join in. You could do that. It's your models.
You can't do whatever you want.
The issue I always have is GW always does this, where they swap between the two. I've made this point before, so I won't dwell on it. But it's just like, I do genuinely think that when they don't overemphasize the war, we tend to get more freedom, and you tend to see more vibrant orc armies when that happens. So on the whole, I have to say, I think this codex is much preferable to the last 3. Even potentially the 4th edition one, because I think the 4th edition one was in many ways a damn squid that I just got used to with Stockholm Syndrome because I had to put up with a fucking thing for 8 years. So I got used to it towards the end. We had it a lot. We had the 4th edition one a long fucking time. We got it towards the end of 4th edition, and we still had it up until I think mid 6th. I want to say
It was a good
Seventh.
codex, man.
It came in at 7th.
It
Now, slow
wasn't.
your
It
roll
was an
there,
average
cowboy.
book.
It came in 4th edition, but it came in at the arse end of 4th edition and was designed for 5th.
Yeah, we still
was
had it a fucking
technically
long
the
ass
first
time.
of the 5th edition codexes.
So was there not a great deal of rule changes in general, in 40k in general, from sort of 4th, 5th, 6th?
No,
No,
the
they
codex
were-
had changed.
They were all
The
tweaks
core
on
was the
third.
same. The core was the same, like.
They were all
Yeah.
tweaks on 3rd, yeah.
Yeah.
But I
I would give
genuinely...
up all of those fancy game dynamics that you think are so valuable in the new codex for points. Just like, bring back the old point system and stop deleting old good units and bringing out new ones that are so specific.
You know what? I'm going to argue against
That-
you. I can't believe
So,
this.
you can, that's fine, but I'm still making my point.
Go for it.
I'm totally done with modern Games Workshop. I'm totally done with them. I love orcs. I'm never going to give up my hobby of loving orcs, but I'm so done with Games
Never
Workshop.
gonna give orcs
Their-
up.
Their codexes are shit now. They're pointless. They're awful pieces of shit
Never
filled
gonna
with
buy
loads
your
of,
books.
loads of photos of design studio fucking image. It's got no interest. It's just a book of boredom to me. That's completely pointless as soon as it comes out of print because most of it's fucking irrelevant or misprinted anyway. How
have to
anyone
say-
can support it and go, oh, it's great.
I have to say, I agree that the codex format should die. I don't think codexes are a thing that we should be expected to buy anymore. Like, Games
No, and
Workshop's
I
kind
agree
of...
with you entirely. The army book thing would be much better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, just like, I would be happy to just buy an army book where it's just full of lore and
Yeah.
ideas, and
Yeah,
I
so
don't
do I.
need the rules to be in there, and I don't want the rules to be in there. They're redundant immediately, and they're a price point that I need to add on if I want to continue supporting this hobby, along with all the other ridiculously expensive plastic kits that they sell. If they're just selling plastic kits and your rules are online, like every other fucking game that I play that is cheaper than 40k, that I now play more often, then yeah, maybe I'd consider 40k again, because if I didn't have to pay for the rules, then I will. And that's probably the only reason why I even entertain playing it with the
Do you know,
Warbosses, is because get free rules.
I agree with what you said there, Dim. But the codex has one use for me, rules wise. That's all right. During game, I much prefer using the data cards, and when I'm putting a list together, I use the app. But if I'm sitting in an evening, I'm just sort of looking at things, ideas oh, how, I don't know, just ideas of units and things and looking into them. I do like sitting there and flipping through the book and reading through it. Then
I still think you could get that without the army list section. If you take the army list section out entirely and you take all the rules out, but you still have your lore, you still have pictures of armies, you could have some showcases in there. They could go back to the days where they added like conversion pages.
Yeah, hell
and they could throw in some like relevant golden demon stuff.
Yeah, take my money now, basically. If
that's all that was there, the fans who really, really like that faction will happily buy that book.
Extended page of glyphs, like 3 or 4 pages of.
And also the other thing is,
amazing.
If they do that every now and then, that makes a lot more sense to me. Because like people
and
are saying,
a battle report in every one.
Like people saying that, like, you get the divide between the people who are like, oh, but the lore in the books hardly ever changes and that's lazy, versus the people who are like, oh, the lore in the book should be updated every time. And I'm just like, well, a codex needs to be the primer of the main information, which means it more or less needs to be fixed. So why are we buying this book over and over again? Really, you want that book to exist largely for new players and maybe for dedicated players who want to collect everything of a faction. That's your audience for that kind of thing. Forcing everybody to go out and buy the same fucking thing over again. And more importantly, old farts like me who read the book and get really annoyed by the absolutely pointless changes that are there to dumb down for the new audience. Like saying, all freebooters are pirates, full stop. That's all they are. You know, like...
Well, Dim, to make your point about what is the best orc book that GW's ever published?
War the Orcs.
And can you give me 5 rules that appear in War the Orcs?
There are none.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you for making my case for me. Why didn't I mention it? But yeah, exactly. Like War the Orcs is amazing, and it's just a lore primer.
It's lore. It's just
Yeah.
lore. It's just stories. It's
Lore, stories, pictures.
background. It's pictures.
And it's considered the gold of all collectors' books, isn't it? So
And it's available in reprint from individual stockists for about 15 to 18 quid.
I miss
I need
the
to get
collector's
that.
guides as well, and I think
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's
they-
crazy that they don't do them now. I think they'd print money with them fuckers if they release them
Exactly.
now. But just whatever every race have a book of a complete, comprehensive collection of everything that's ever been released, including limited edition one-offs and things. And it would just be a fascinating, coffee table book to have. But yeah, I would love the idea of a book just cram-packed with lore.
But they stopped doing them because they stopped the mail
Conversions.
order, and they were like part and parcel with the mail order thing, weren't they? So you'd like look through that and go, "Oh, I really want that." And there's
I
the
mean,
number.
maybe we
Come
might
on,
be.
right.
Look, I'm secretly hoping that probably within the next 10 years, we might even get back to that potentially. I suppose it depends on where GW development goes. If they stick with the plastic format, probably not. But if they start incorporating 3D printing stuff, they could become bespoke bestseller, and they might go back to, really, really pushing conversions again. That'd be quite cool if they did that. That would be a good thing that they could do to get a lot of the old guard back on side. Not that they probably care about that, but I just wanted to get back to one thing, because when Dread was talking about points, I'm kind of straddling the line, because I do love points, but I've grown up for editions on it. I generally think the way they did it, the way they've done the change, I think was botched. I think they've really, really fucked it, and it's obvious. You take something like the mech gun, and it's just like, take anything over the custom mega cannon, maybe one or two of the other options. You're just being an idiot. But
Well, not now. They've
Not
flipped
even-
that on its head now.
That used to be the
And not
case.
run a
but they
battle
nerfed
wagon
it
with
now.
just a big shooter on it. I mean, I've got a battle wagon that's got just a big shooter on it, but now I can't use it. And well, it's pointless to use it without going, oh, it's also got a lobber, a cannon, a fucking death roller, it's got a grabbing claw, it's got a fucking ball. Fuck off.
Sometimes you
make
wanted a
the
battle
choice.
wagon that was just a transport.
I
You
will
didn't pay 20 points for 4 big shooters.
I will
You
say
didn't pay for
though-
a kill cannon. You don't pay for a lobber or the claw. Or
Exactly.
you just wanted to have just fucking fuck
But
the
it also
shooter. It's
makes
just a
the
trouble
models-
forward and deliver.
But it makes your models sort of kind of void. So I've made, like, there's a battle wagon with just a shooter on it. It's got nothing else on it. But then you're less likely to want to use it in battle because people are going to go, oh, it's not got this and that on it. So you use the model that does have this and that on it rather than the one that doesn't if you've got the choices. It makes a lot of the things you created now shit.
Nobody
Not
would have
yet,
a problem with
but-
you using
No,
it,
I
but you would make you reluctant to use it because we like the kit bash, we like to
It's
make
behaviour
little
like
things and
that.
we like to follow what it's got to have. So yeah, I get
Well,
you.
that wasn't
Listen,
really what I was
listen to
going.
like Northern Exile. We'll tell you straight up. It is exactly the fact that they do not care about existing players. Once you once you're past that new player stage, they don't give a shit about you.
Yeah, 'cause
that's
you-
That's
obvious.
true of most companies, though, isn't it? Most companies
Yeah.
doing like a new customer
I-
kind
I
of
would-
thing.
I
isn't it?
wouldn't say most companies.
There's plenty of companies that spend most of their time on existing customers and making sure that they have a great time, because then they will go and tell other people to come back.
And there's plenty that don't. There's plenty
Yeah,
that
true.
offer the best price for when you're a new customer and you start to get your first few months at a reduced discount or whatever, and you don't get nothing
is
for being a
true as well,
loyal
Will.
customer. There's many
Yeah, yeah.
companies that will just not give a
Yeah,
fuck
sign
about
up
you.
for 3 months
loyalty.
and leave and go to the next place. That's how people deal with those sorts of companies.
Because I just want to say I don't agree with the point. I don't agree with your point at all. Sorry, I don't disagree with your point at all. I think the way they've done it is shit. I think the cull of options is fucking awful. But I do think there's something to this. Now, I just want to make a couple of examples, because to me, this is a nuanced thing. Because it's like, yes, mostly this is bad, but there's a few things there, right? So, like, for instance, I've long been an advocate of the fact that it's an absolute ball ache, some of the price points that you've had to pay for things, because like there's always that temptation with this was a problem in Warhammer Fantasy books, and a problem in a lot of 40k books, where you'd find a toy that you really, really, really wanted to take, something you wanted to add to your army because it fit really nicely. I'm going to make a number of examples of this, right? But what they would do is that they would help to theme your army, but what they ended up doing really was absolutely destroying your list, because those points would add up, and they didn't really give you anything other than some random flavor. So I've got a few examples of this. My go-to is big guns. I never, ever felt it made sense for the upgrades to cost more, because to my money, the cannon, the zap, and the lobber should cost the same points. And at some point along the trajectory, I can't remember which edition, GW agreed with me, and they all became the same points. I think it might have been 8th, actually, but I can't remember when it was. But
8th and 9th.
Yeah, they were exactly the same points, which makes fucking sense, because they all have a distinct role, and they're all decent at their role, and the other ones don't copy
Well,
it.
hang on, though. But
There's
if you're writing the rules for these weapons, and they're all, supposed to be decent, but you can't help that some of them might actually go, well, actually, this one's a bit more powerful than that one, and therefore it is worth more points.
Yes, there are examples. There are examples where they fucked that up. Yes, I'm with you. But my point is that if they get it to the point where everything has a distinct role to play, and I think the way that they've stripped down the game actually really goes against them. Really, with the stripped down system that they have, they shouldn't have abandoned points. If you still had some of the third ed stuff where you had templates and things that meant that it wasn't just down to the numbers of statistical analysis of dice, which literally will tell you what's the best thing to ever take on any unit, and why anybody's still going on about generalship and tactics in most 40k games when it boils down to numbers more than anything else, 9 times out of 10. Especially much more in 8th and 9th than it ever did in 10th, because at least 10th goes, no, you actually do need some strategy in order to play this game now.
Well, the strategy comes in here, Tim, where you go, fuck that. I just rolled a shit roll. I'm going to re-roll that.
Oh, don't.
That's the strategy now, mate.
That's the fucking worst fucking thing. I still can't believe the command point reroll is still in the game. It just takes all of the jeopardy out of the game. I mean, granted, you could still use that reroll and get the same result. I play Blood Bowl. I know that very well. But it's still kind of shitty. The only time where I ever felt
the command reroll has ruined a few cool moments in game for me. I've had a character make several ludicrously good saves or whatever and survive by the skin of his teeth, and then they've always gone, "Oh,
the only positive
undo it," or something really cool happens, and then someone re-rolls it and stops it happening. It's like, ugh.
The only cool one I can remember is in 8th. I used the command point reroll in order to make the Red Terror swallow a character hole rule work, because I needed a 6. You need to hit with all the attacks, and then you need to roll a 6, and they just insta-killed. And I did that during a mini tournament, and it was the only bit of enjoyment I got out of the entire tournament. So on that front, that's about the only time it ever sort of found it enjoyable.
Yeah,
but to be honest,
the people that will miss those re-rolls, they just need to realise that if you don't have them, the other person don't have them. So it's all good.
Well, the problem is that anything that amounts to a nope almost always is feel bad in games design. Like, anybody play fantasy? Do you remember the Dispel scroll?
Yeah.
So you'd build a magic heavy army, and granted that could be really, really naughty when they balked the balance of magic horrendously. But then, if you had an army that needed a little bit of magic to help you along, and your opponent just turned up and they'd spent 50 points on magic item upgrades, and those 50 points were 2 Dispel scrolls, so the 2 decisive spells that you needed in the game that you managed to successfully cast, and he just went, no, stopped. Not more likely to stop it, just stopped. Fucking killed the fun of fantasy for me. And
yeah, it's a massive buzz. Just call that rule buzzkill.
It basically was.
Yeah, that'd be a
The
good name for it.
worst of it is that in certain cases, when you were fighting against some of the really, really balked armies in like 6th and 7th edition, you needed the fucking Dispel Scroll because magic was such bullshit. Like a Tzeentch heavy Chaos army. If you didn't have the Dispel Scroll, you just lost. So they made it kind of a necessary defensive thing for a lot of players to take. But as a result, it meant that people who weren't cheesy cunts, they turned up to play a game and they expected a little bit of fun bullshit to happen, and it just got noped. So in some respects, I think some of the design that GW have done recently is quite good, as they've got rid of some of these problems. But nah, often the execution is far worse, just because
I think
game's so stripped down that they've removed an awful lot of accidental fun that you could get in games, and as a result, you are reliable on GW nailing it every time, which is the problem that the modern game has for me. Is just
right. Let us counter or respond to some of those points before you make another 10. But there was I don't remember what I was going to say now. I was too busy taking the piss out of you.
I'll wait till Tim's talking again and you'll remember.
Yeah, I will. I fucking will. No, I think yeah, I'm sort of, I don't know whether I'm on the fence with it or not. I can see they took the points out. I was, dead against that at the start. I still don't know how I feel about it now. I think in many cases they have made attempts. You can see they have to try and rebalance weapons within squads and within on a vehicle or whatever, to try and get all the weapons that are somewhat all viable and equal. And yeah, in that case, it doesn't really matter about points, because if you're just choosing between that one or that one, they cost the same points. One's better at infantry, one's better at vehicles, whatever. Cool. Unfortunately, in many cases, it doesn't work like that. Either because they've done a really bad job of trying to balance them, and sort of over nerf something or make something, crap in response to something being, chosen by too many people. Or like on the vehicles, like Dredd said, like you can't have like a bare bones version of a battle wagon anymore. I mean, you can, but you're going to pay the same points as someone who has the one with all the bells and whistles on it. So why would you? And I think that's because the game wasn't designed around that. So they got rid of the points differences, that minute level. But now they're playing catch up with the rules and the statistics to try and get it to match that, because they didn't design the game around that, where no matter what you choose, it's basically equal. It's just different versions of the same thing. So I think it's kind of partially successful. And then there's standout units where you look at it and you're like, that clearly just hasn't worked. And I think it's a shame that they didn't do like two versions.
It's not about whether it works
like
or not, though. It's about the choice.
Or two versions of a battle wagon or something, so you can have the bare bones one, but then like they did in, I think it was the 9th edition one, where you had 3 different versions of a battle wagon in there, and they all cost different points, but they all had different rules and different equipment on them and that.
It's still only halfway getting there, though. It's much better just to have battle wagon, bare bones. Here's all the add-ons. Here's what they cost in points. Boom. Then I, as the consumer, have the complete choice about what I'm building and what I'm making, because it's my creativity that they are trying to monetize. But they've dropped that model now. It's like, we don't care about your creativity and your enjoyment, about you immersing yourself in this environment and making it your own. No. Here is what you must do. Follow this. Come and have fun our way, not your way, our way. And that's what I don't like about them anymore. I used to love the fact that it was all about encouraging you to do what you want to do, find it fun the way you want to do it. They say all that shit now, but they don't mean it.
Even if they just had two versions of like vehicles like that, like you could have like your truck and then a souped up truck. You could have a battle wagon and a souped up battle wagon, and both as same stat lines or whatever. But the souped up version, you get access to all this shit you can throw on it, and the basic one, you just get the sort of standard one.
Yeah, I kind of like, well, the lack of options was a bit bollock, but I mean, let's face it, it was on the fucking cards, wasn't it? The thing that kind of gets me about it is that, like,
it does stink a little bit of like it does remind me an awful lot of War Machine, as I mentioned earlier, because it's like it's very much a tournament infrastructure. That's what it is. They're stripping away all of the other layers just so they can kind of basically pander the tournament people. I mean, that's what these formations are ultimately. Is it's just here's the new meta in this book. That's basically all it is. And granted, they've managed to throw in some stuff that's a bit fun. I'll be extra super delighted if all the tournament people are like, oh no, let's not use the dread mob because that's got unreliable weapons in it. Oh no, shock horror, because that will appeal to me.
Is it the tournament players that's the issue though? Because they're just being true to themselves and doing tournaments.
Because
isn't the bigger issue the much larger portion of the gaming community that aren't tournament players but act like tournament players?
Yeah,
Well,
that's the
culture
problem.
Those two.
That's the problem, and it's all well and good where you can pass the blame, but at the end of the day, doesn't the community themselves have to take responsibility for
No,
they can't say, oh, GW told me to do it. GW told me to do it. These YouTubers told me to do it. No, do what you want. There's nothing stopping any of us doing what we want.
I've got friends that are new in the hobby though that are just like your typical gamers of today, where they are sort of doing it by tournament ways because they don't know any different. That's the way they've been thrown into the hobby. There isn't books of images of other people's armies and stuff like that. Now, like I said, all the books are studio armies, and it's just so laid out for you that there isn't any sort of like, oh, here has an idea. Where do you want to take it? There's none of that.
It does take two to tango. Like it's both. It's both. Not one or the other. It's both.
Thing is, when back in the day, right, all I had anyway, was GW, as in what? Let's have a look at an army. It was the GW armies. It's what you saw in White Dwarf. Whereas now there is a lot more information out there as to not what you should be doing, what you could be doing, and some of it is very much billed as what you should be doing. So all these YouTube channels and what have you, like myself. I've just realised Match of the Day is on. I haven't paused it. Right, fuck that. I'll get on in a second. I noticed the football's going on in the background on my screen there, in the reflection. So yeah, when these people who are getting into the hobby, and like you say, Dread, that they're just doing what they're told to do.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there like ourselves who are saying, no, you don't have to do it like that. You can do it like this.
Yeah, it takes a while for them to find it.
We need to push
more
that.
and more now. I think
we need to push that. Not just tournaments is available. GW will sort of like they'll mention it and go, "Oh, you could do it this way, but you really should really." And lots of the big channels are going, "You should definitely do it this way. Don't be using this unit; it's shit. Use this unit; it's great. It's really hard. You win. People will hate you." There's lots of that out there, but instead of just shooting that down, they don't do that. Don't do that. We should be saying, do this instead. We should be offering that alternative.
I think we are.
Which we're doing. Which we're doing with the bat reps and what have you.
We do, and there are more and more others, bigger channels and stuff, doing the same thing now in recommending third-party stuff, Kit Bastion showcase stuff, and all that good stuff. And I think there's more and more of that now because the tournament stuff is very. Not many people stick around for that because you're going to do it for a while. You're going to burn out on it, the cost and everything. Unless you're truly passionate and invested in the lore and the creativity of it, and that I can't see like tournament rule like.
Well, I mean, look at what Scar
holding you in for as long.
Scar just worked out. It was basically $1,000 to run a what was it, 1,500 point Bully Boys squad?
To 2K if you're buying it from new.
2K. So it costs you $1,000. Now, if you're one of these tournament type players who does just go and buy the new meta, then that's $1,000 there for the new Ork hotness.
Big boy money.
Big boy money, yeah.
2 seconds behind you.
And I'll tell you what, that's going to be nerfed in the next update because it's too powerful.
Yeah.
So then there'll be what is the next new hotness to that, because that won't be the hottest thing anymore. So something else. So then that person has to go out and let's just not something you can sustain. You can't. I mean, unless you're literally fucking rolling in it, which there's not many people that really are. So they're narrowing their customer base.
We should applaud them for constantly
year.
changing the meta, because fuck those people. So.
I mean, I can see why GW likes having the tournament people around and pandering to them, because I mean, obviously,
Sales,
tournament players,
money.
well, yeah, sales. It can drive sales a lot, but also it polices stuff that they don't like. So, like, it polices third-party matches, it polices heavily converted matches, it polices scratch-built stuff. That's what they like about it. That's what GW likes about it, is that they can, like, I'm just waiting for the day when they turn around and go, right, conversion is banned. Conversion is not allowed. They could totally do that, and the tournament people would go along with it. They totally would, because they like the infrastructure, and they've got the point now where they've got an awful lot of influencers who now have a career that they have to defend.
Yeah.
They've got a source of money out of their identity is that they're a 40k player, and that's what content they make. So they'll go along with that, and they'll make whatever mental gesticulations that they can. I mean, obviously, some of them will try and use their clout to influence Games Workshop to go, no, backtrack that. I mean, even Valrak will do that on occasion, like, you know. But that's what GW likes about it, is they like that fact that they think they can control the hobby. But the reality of it, just on paper, that makes sense. Then you add in reality, which, to be honest, GW are often out of touch with, to be honest. And you've got tournaments that go, fuck no, we'll have third party's fine, so long as you know what it is. Don't care. Conversion's fine. That's fine. It's always been a part of the hobby. You're going to have tournaments that don't accept that. So I don't know why GW are so convinced that it's the way forward, because there are just as many tournaments out there that don't play ball by what Games Workshop wants them to do as do. So it just seems like a wasted opportunity, really, of going back to the days when they were a broad church, when the tournament people, they got a bit catered to them, but also the converted people got a bit catered to them. The narrative people got more than a hand-waved optional add-on rule set that was worked on for about 20 minutes, and then they clicked print. You know, like...
I'm excited for the first time that GW has a big financial hit. When they take the first big loss and their numbers are really down on the last quarter or whatever, because it's at that point that those wankers in the fucking
prices.
No, those they probably will. But,
Yeah.
but when that doesn't work, then all the wankers on the board, all the shareholders on the board, that's when they'll leave. And when they do, finally, hopefully, we'll have fresh shareholders that will actually go, well, obviously that method that they were banging before wasn't working. Just keep trying to get more. Why don't we try the old-fashioned method of loyalty, giving consistency and quality so that we develop loyalty?
They'll never go back to that, because they'll look at the shareholder price then and the shareholder price now. And even if the shareholder price dropped by 90% now, it would still be more than back then.
I wish I lived in your optimistic world, Dredd. I really, really do.
I know. Well, I've got to
really...
I'll be honest, this might be a terrible
Cling to that
thing
hope,
to say.
because I never will have it.
This might be a terrible thing to say, but I don't really care. I just don't really care. I don't really care. Well, we talk about this week in, week out. My creativity has never changed through any of these editions or any of the business. I've scoffed at the prices. I've scoffed at kits disappearing and stuff, but I'm fucking... GW do what they do. There are fucking so many third-party companies now. We're fucking spoiled for fucking choice. And I don't know. I don't know what everyone's so fucking moody about. I think we've got a pretty good codex at the minute. I'm enjoying the game. Got a fuck ton of options open to me through GW and third party. GW still make fantastically good plastic kits that are great.
I genuinely thought you were going to say games there, and I was just ready to dive down your throat.
Well, look, I've been playing it since since Space Crusade and shit. I've been enjoying myself.
I think it's. I don't think it's that GW were particularly doing anything brilliant. I just think they were there first, and
I'll be honest with you guys. I just don't think until we did the channel, I never really thought about it a huge amount, company wise and business decision wise, and that.
Oh, I've always thought about it like that.
I've just not. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see things. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. I do like that. I don't like this and like that. But I don't know. I'm not overly fussed what the company's doing, and the company stuff. It's not really what I got into it for. I got into it for these little fellas and their quality.
Yeah, but the company steers the direction that goes in. So all the time they're as powerful as they are. That's what the problem is.
I know, but I ain't gonna change shit. So I'm just gonna have fun doing my shit.
If either they become less powerful and so they have less influence and so what they do doesn't matter too much, or that they cop on and be a good company again.
It's probably the wrong mentality, but I just feel like it's shouting into the wind. And I was thinking, I don't know. I'm not that fast.
Not shouting into the wind.
Well,
not really.
Corporations tend to have very, very easily to upset egos. You can upset a corporation into changing. That has been demonstrated to happen.
Yeah, but I stopped buying.
Yeah, but also the other thing is
that's the only thing.
Yeah, but I mean, if like the problem with the direction you're going, Steve-O, is we could just go, what's the point? And we could literally go, what's the point about anything? If you go,
yeah, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's just genuinely me being truthful. That's how I feel.
That's fine. But it's just like
it probably is a terrible thing to.
It's terrible for a podcast where you're going to discuss shit, even if it's not what you think 99% of the time. See, this is a problem that always bugs me, right? It's because since the forum days, right, I have always liked to go to places where I can discuss the hobby and I can talk about the problems, because the problems tend to be the thing that bothers me, right? That's the thing that gets me annoyed. But do I spend every second of the hobby being annoyed at that thing? No. It's 2% of my hobby. A lot of the people who talk to me, they act like it's my 98% because they are interacting with me in the one arena where I discuss the problems. I discuss the problems and care about the problems, but also still enjoy the hobby. I do still enjoy the hobby.
Yeah. 100%.
But I also have the kind of mind that likes to look at problems and try and fix them. That's part of my brain, but also that's the part of my brain that makes me good at converting. That's the part of my brain that makes me good at making rule sets. That's the part of my brain that makes me good at critiquing writing and making it better. Like, I can't switch it off ever, and it helps part of the hobby, but it also creates problems. Like, part of the problem that it creates is that I'll always find the problems in anything.
Same.
But it also means that, like, when it comes to making a conversion, I will probably go that extra 2 to 10 steps to make it look that much better that you can't see. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example here, but making the conversion not just obviously I've bodged 2 parts together.
Yeah.
I'll add in 10 extra steps that hide the bodge and make it look better. Like, that's just how my brain works.
But I want to pick up on one key thing you said there, and I think it's my point. Saying 98% of your time is enjoying the hobby or all the different aspects of it, and 2% is worrying about or talking and discussing the issues with the company ethics and company decisions. So why do we discuss that 98%?
Because it's boring.
No, I can answer that. It's because it's something to talk about, whereas you sit in painting or building something is very difficult to articulate, as we've done before. If we've tried to talk about conversions and stuff like that, it's very difficult to talk about. Whereas the hobby in general and where it sits at this current state. And
mate, I can talk for like a 2-hour video about how much I love a particular fucking miniature.
I suppose it depends on the individual and their focus on what you've invested in. Like me, I used to be super bothered about what the company was doing and the latest releases and updates to the rules because I was more invested. I'm not as invested in that aspect anymore because I choose not to. But I used to, and I used to care quite a lot. Whereas now I don't care as much. Still love my orcs, but I don't care what changes happen in the new edition. I don't care about what rules do and don't change. The thing I care about now is making fun miniatures and having a good time with me mates, because I'm being realistic. The only time I play 40k is with you lads, you know.
So you're in the exact same place as me, except that, well, you probably have the same thoughts too. Is that so you accept that I love my orcs, I love my army. I'm still going to do what I do with them. I don't care what they're doing over there, whatever, blah blah blah. But you've got to care what they're doing over there a little bit, because it is what it. Well, yes, you can make your own games, you can play your own games, blah blah blah. But the continuation of the hobby, the continuation of the supply of the miniatures and of the supply of other players dies when they die, or dwindles when they do wrong. So, you know, caring about the direction they go in and caring about them actually copying on and becoming a decent company, it's not an all negative Nancy sort of moany thing.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a negative Nancy thing. I'm just saying it's more what we each as individuals choose to put our energy into caring about. You're more invested in caring about the direction that they push the hobby and how they affect the hobby, and, you know, your interactions. Whereas
only because I'm thinking long term, really.
Yeah, that's cool.
It doesn't affect me. It don't really affect me. It doesn't. But long term, it would do if, you know, this or that happens. So, you know.
Whereas
I'd
say
when I first
my
view
is more
YouTube
restricted.
and...
Just I'll get this point out and then let you at it. I think my thing now is that it's become smaller for me. It's become something I do with me 5 mates. You know what I mean? We have a bit of a laugh. We get together and we play games, and that's all
it's
it is
always
for me.
been for me as well.
That's all it is. It literally, it doesn't go beyond us for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not bothered beyond that. You know what I mean? Whereas other people, I can understand them being more invested, and I understand why they're annoyed and bothered. I'm not taking that away from folks. I'm just saying that I used to be like that, but I've realised that, especially from our league, I've realised, I'm a casual 40k player now. I'm not a hardcore 40k player like I used to be, because I choose not to spend the energy getting to know the codex and buying the new codex, and you know what I mean. But it's just realizing, you know, different people are going to be on different paths with their hobby, and that's fine.
Also another thing,
when I discovered that YouTube was making content for like 40k Warhammer and stuff, like that was cool. I'm like, it's cool. I can, like, this hobby that I'm really into, that currently I only get my fix through, like, you know, I'm chatting on forums or reading White Dwarf every month. My God, I used to look forward to a new issue of White Dwarf, and hope that it wasn't covering some faction I didn't really give a shit about. Like, every now and again you got an issue like, ugh, but there was always some goodness in there.
Dark Eldar issue, fuck's sake.
But then it's really only since YouTube, where I think after a while I sort of think you start getting drawn into channels. There's lots of controversial channels in inverted commas, depending on your.
Welcome to the Warboss.
Depending
also
on your,
a lot of anti-controversial channels that bang
when I say controversial, it can cover a great myriad of what controversy is. It depends on your sensitivity, I guess. But lots of people channels talk about this stuff, and incessantly. And I think it plays to the algorithm a lot of the time as well.
I think that is part of the problem.
Yeah, and I'm just after a while, I'm just thinking like, I was never like, I really want to find a channel that discusses this stuff. It wasn't on my agenda. I wanted to find channels that talked about the lore. I wanted to find channels that went into conversions. Now, company-wise, what I am interested in big time is like, and I love the fact that we're seeing a lot more of it lately, both in books and on YouTube, is the history of the company. Fuck me, that shit interests me. How they started out with a few people sleeping in their car and shit, and how where the seeds of the ideas come from, and what ideas, what they robbed from who, and how they were all just like this very
directions they could have gone in and didn't go in. And stuff like that.
Yeah, fascinating. But you know,
can't believe it took this long for people to have that idea as well.
It took so long. There was very little content like that out. And I'm like, why is this not a thing? And luckily, as we're starting to see now, I think We've had some channels doing lots of long form interviews with like, famous figures in the industry, and these books that have been done, like Dice Men, and talking about.
I do wonder. Do you wonder if it was maybe? Oh, Sid, can you remember? I can't believe which one was the one who passed? Who was one of the co-writers of WoW? Was it Nigel Stillman, or was it the other one?
Andy Chambers.
No.
Chambers is still
Ansell,
around.
wasn't it?
Don't be saying that.
Was it Brian Ansell?
Brian
That's
Ansell. It was Brian
Yes.
Ansell.
Yeah,
Right.
he died,
I
yeah.
wonder if it was Brian Ansell's pass, and people went, "Fuck, we're going to lose him." Because I wonder
it was
if that
before
was
that.
it.
I think it started before, but that would have
it started
certainly,
before.
brought that to
That was
people's attention.
that was what hit me in the head. Was just like, oh fucking hell, yeah, we are going to lose these guys.
We're going to lose Granny's
Yeah.
recipe.
I just want to
why
say,
it's so interesting to listen to those stories is because it's like reminiscing. It's like, oh, when it good though, when it's so good, when it like, and when people like with passion start a business and care about what they're doing, blah blah blah. You know, that's why we love those stories. Because now, what can they tell us about Games Workshop nowadays? Board of fucking directors and fucking shareholders. Woo, exciting!
but I will say though that on the nostalgia thing with I mean, it's great positive content, and hey, it's me saying that, but it's just like it's positive. The fact it's positive is not the reason it's good. That's bullshit. The reason it's good.
Interesting.
Well, no, yeah, exactly. It's got a purpose. It's got a function. It's got a point. You don't decide on a tone and then go, I'm just going to make everything in this tone. That doesn't work. And also, part of the reason why I like this show, and part of the reason why I'm still on this show, is that there is a wide variety of perspectives. You tonight have heard a very nuanced discussion with a lot of back and forth, with multiple different opinions, a little bit in the middle, a little bit on the left, a little bit on the right, in terms of like where people are and whether it's good or not. Like, it's not just that it's
Haven't
bad.
even started
If
on
you
politics
exclude-
yet.
Yeah, but if you exclude the negative aspect of the hobby, you don't have a lot to talk about. And the problem with like the 98% coming back to this, right, is that we're all going to agree. Like, especially here with these 6, right? We have a lot of the same interests, and we can probably make that work for a while. And you guys could probably get 20 minutes of enjoyable content out of that agreement. Where does it go after that? Because, like, that's part of the thing. Like, why does negativity work so well on YouTube? And it's because it's not boring. Whereas a lot of the positivity, because I've been on forums that have tried to do positivity drives before, because there's a certain subsection of this hobby that are a positivity cult. They do not tolerate anything other than positivity.
Toxic positivity.
And like, it is its own version of bad.
Which is
You can't
that's
have
a
an
thing,
extreme
I
of
think.
either. You've got to have a mix.
Positivity is a thing.
The thing I need to be careful of is sending it the other way, that we've got too much negativity, which I've tried to address.
The negativity, I totally agree. You can't just have it like you're just being an echo chamber. What do you think of this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking great. I love it too. Oh, I'm nearly there. Right? And it's not gonna do it.
Exactly.
You've got to have the opposite side, but we can't just fall into just, well, what should we do now? Well, let's put the old record on and just go over the same things again.
I think that's the point I'm making.
And it's difficult.
Hang on a minute. We
not to
haven't
do
though.
that so much. It's
We haven't,
difficult
though.
because you know, if we're doing this every week and that, and GW, they don't make as many changes as we'd like. I'd love a change every week. GW, if you're watching, can you just change it?
That's just it though. I don't think we do want a change every week. I think that's the thing we've got at the moment. Like, probably less change. Just give us an addition for 5 years. Give us an addition for 5 years. Give us a few rules tweaks, and then leave us alone for a bit.
Yeah.
And by the end of those 5 years, people will be going, you know, that unit that we said was shit right at the start? Well, I found a really useful use for that. You know, like, that's what I miss, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest example of that, I think, was when in 9th, when the Ork Codex came out, and that buggy spam was a thing, and I think Drakari and that were like kicking ass at the tournaments, and they brought the buggy spam out, and a few people ran it, and it was perfect for smashing the Drakari army list. So the flit around hiding doesn't matter. You're getting squigs rained down on you, you get demolished. And after 3 weeks of that, they went, let's sort this buggy spam out. It's went on for too long. This madness never end? And they changed it. And at that point, there was a bat rep or a series on the lads in Gibraltar done that tournament. And somebody took the buggies, and Winters took a load of like Terminators and that, and big mobs, not Terminators mobs, but big 10-man units, and the buggy spam just washed over it like water over rocks, done fucking nothing to it. So it didn't take long for someone to come up with something which would counter the new hotness, but GW's arse went.
That's how it
and
used
went,
to
let's
be.
change everything. But if you hadn't have changed it, there'd have been someone else would come along, and something else would come along, and something else would come, and it would just naturally sort of evolve throughout different sort of what's the latest hotness, if you like, and it's just down to whatever people are using.
Sometimes people have to. Sometimes GW has to intervene. Like a good example of that is Rhino Rush. Like Rhino Rush was a bit broken in third ed. Like transports were a little too good. So with fourth edition, they tried to address that. Now, this is Games Workshop, so I'll give you a guess. Did they overcompensate? Of course they did. Of course they did. Transports either didn't get taken at all, or they literally just became moving cover, where the unit didn't even really get a benefit of having that enhanced move. They got out. I mean, some of them even started outside of the transport, so I wondered why they even brought them. But I suppose in a way it was realistic, but at the same time it was just kind of like it didn't feel right, you know? But at the same time, they did need to do something about it. So on occasion, an update should probably try to address a few problems. But the thing we've got now again is we've kind of got away from this new system thing, because 8th edition's core system is more or less what third was to like 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, with 9th, 10th, and presumably the next one probably will be the same, I suspect, where it's tweaks, right? And that's fine. Like an addition tweak's cool. The problem is they're doing an awful lot sort of live, and that is a delicate balance to do. I play a lot of other games that also do this. What tends to be the norm is
a bit of a half reset, but it's quite a significant change from 8th and 9th. 9th was very much like a tweak
massively.
of 8th.
Yeah, I mean it is a big departure. There were a couple of big mechanical shifts, but remember with the third ed system that happened too. They did quite a lot of sort of radical shifts. Not quite as radical, I'll grant you, but it's still at its heart. It's still the 8th edition system. It still works the same way. Still has the same start line, and you see what I mean. It's that kind of core, right? You can still make it be very different, but it's still the template is 8th. It's just the template has changed quite a bit, but it's still the same template, and that's fine. I think that's actually probably the way to go. Really, get yourself a system and just tweak it until it's good, and iron a load of the kinks out, and you're going to find more kinks. Well, that's games design for you. You know, like if you don't like that idea, don't get into games design, because you're never going to fix all the problems.
No, you're not.
I think they're trying to fix too many.
It creates another thing, because there's so many variables, and it's almost like that chasing of balance is kind of a fool's errand, really. Because
they've in many ways
going to be balanced, because it's impossible to be exactly balanced.
That's kind of the problem that they've done, though, because of the way that they've made 40k now with stripped down where you've got very direct interaction. All weapons can always fire. There are no restrictions on firing, no matter what direction a unit's facing. Doesn't matter. Vehicle design of whether they've got turrets or sponsons doesn't matter. It's just all the guns going to all the thing over there. You know, all of that has meant that effectively the difference between weapons matters far too much, because there is absolutely no other modifier going in other than the raw mechanical stuff. Whereas at least with templates back in the day, when templates scattered, that was a flawed system, but it broke that up. And it worked in weird ways, because like think about it, us Ork players, right? All of us have played all older editions, and I'm not sure on whether Sid's maybe encountered this, probably hasn't, but obviously Ork ballistic skill isn't the best, and granted, these days we'll get a few sort of units where they go, right, well, we'll give this unit slightly better shooting in certain circumstances. That's cool. That's a way to fix that. But the advantage of template weapons at a certain point, I think it was what, from 5th onwards, or maybe even 4th, I can't remember. But from a certain point onwards, if a blast template missed, it would scatter.
4th. They brought that in 4th, yeah.
Ah, right, yeah. So from that point onwards, because you had this second chance to land a hit, and also because it scattered, it could still hit something, a lot of Ork players took blast stuff quite often and used certain blast stuff. It made, in 4th ed, it made stick bombs make sense for the first time, because that actually counted. Like, you got these weird interactions where you're like, right, okay, well, Orcs are normally shit at shooting, but at least we've got this chance to hit again. And, like, that added an extra layer. Whereas now, if your crap stats are crap, that's bad. And there's not really much you can do about it, really. I mean, there are a few things. I think the designers are starting to hit onto this a little bit with some of the changes in 10th. There's definitely, like, Battle Shock's a good change in that.
I don't subscribe to the idea that that it's impossible to. I mean, it would seem that way from the amount of books they've put out and the amount of fails they've had, but it isn't impossible, and it's perfectly possible to have a perfectly balanced game. It absolutely is. But they've just done away with one of the main core ways in which you do that.
I don't think
it is. I don't think it's possible.
No, it is. No, right. Listen.
It's not.
If you've got units and you've got vehicles and you've got shooting and assaulting, you've got melee weapons and shooting weapons, all of that is perfectly balanceable. It becomes unbalanceable once you start adding in special faction rules, special abilities that are outside of what everyone else has got, or what everyone else
would want, though, because that makes your army feel unique, and they should be unique because they're wildly different alien races with wildly different alien technology.
Yeah, okay,
so
all right.
You clearly want
that. If the core game is just the key aspects and the points, then the additional nuance that you want for each faction can be, and we've said this before, just 1 or 2 rules per faction, and that's it. And you just leave it alone. You don't need to keep changing.
But it's not going to be perfectly balanced.
I don't think you need faction rules for people to be invested in factions. Prime example being BattleTech. It's like you can build an army lore-wise, and it's like, yeah, this faction has this factory of this specific variant, so they're more likely to have that variant of mech. But also your opponents could have it because it's like, hey, we fought against them, we salvaged it. So it's an interesting looking at where you can have a formulaic system where units are built around a formula and then everyone can have them. But it's funny because people still get invested in factions when factions are literally just like paint schemes, decals, and lore. You know what I mean? Where there's no faction special rules, but people will still be like, oh, these guys are my faction. They have this variant, so I'm going to build a themed BattleTech army around it. But like me and you, Steve-O, could build exactly the same army, and like in lore, you could justify it, and it's like, well, yeah, we traded with these guys, we robbed this one, but it would still be like, I'm Clan Wolf and Steve-O's Clan, I don't know, Jade Falcon or whatever. And you'd paint them up, you know what I mean? And it's more the identity is behind the color scheme, the lore, and you buy into it and the storylines rather than, oh, I collect this faction and they just so happen to have a special rule, or metagamers where it's like, I collect this faction because they have this special rule, if you get me. Or they have this
unit. It work in that universe though, because it's a very different universe, isn't it? It's all human race.
It's all humans. It's all human interaction. But you could do
stompy robots, and
if the tech was the same across the board. I think it wouldn't work for 40k because 40k has established those faction identities so much. I don't think you could deal with 40k.
I think they've even tried to do it with 40k a bit too much. Like every army has its Terminator version.
Yeah,
has its Dreadnought version. You know, Tyranids have got a Carnifex. The Eldar have got a Wraith Lord. Every faction, and even some new factions, when they come out, they're like, "Oh, they need their version of this." Well, no, they don't need that because
That's why
they're
Tyranids have got
totally
guns.
different. You know, it's
Call them what you want. They're guns. Tyranids with guns.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you could do this. You could do this to a degree. Like, one of the issues I have with 40k is that I think, like, if we're going the stripped down way, now, I wouldn't be for this, incidentally, because I like my complicated system. I'd probably rather have an unbalanced, maybe not quite as unbalanced as 40k is, but like a relatively unbalanced system with a lot of rules and interactions and mechanics. That's what I like. I like that in, say, Drop Zone, and I like that in, like, even Confrontation, which is just like a nightmare to read the rule book and stuff. I like things like that. I like crunchy, complicated rule sets. So, I mean, I'm the worst person to talk about rule sets because my taste is niche. But if you were doing a stripped down system, I think we could get some broad strokes that would balance a lot of the factions out a little bit more than we have it now. Because, like, for instance, one of the first things you do is go, right, well, small arms fire. So all of your infantry units, you could still vary true quality. So you could go, right, okay, in terms of shooting, orcs are crap troop quality, but in terms of combat, they're elite troop quality. You know, and you mix that up with different factions. That could be a nice broad strokes, right? And that would probably get some of the weird shit out of the system and make it a little bit more balanced. Still not balanced, but it would make it more balanced. Then you go, right, small arms. Right, so everybody's small arms works the same way. They all make something that is basically a gun. It is designed in a way that it will, when used correctly and efficiently and hits in the right place, it kills whatever's in front of it. Doesn't matter what race it is. It's designed to kill it. You do that with the majority of small arms in 40k, you balance it a hell of a lot more because you get rid of an awful lot of clunk that doesn't need to be there. And you could do the same broad strokes with archetypes of weapons. This is a tank killing weapon. This is a heavy weapon that can target infantry, but it's also target tanks, but it's not as effective when it targets tanks or infantry because it's no rounder. You could broaden that. You could broaden all of these different guns down to minute differences. And the way you make those feel different is you put that all in faction rules and you just fucking leave it. That's it. That would be more balanced than 40k is now. It wouldn't be perfect, but it'd be a lot better.
Well, they've done this, but I say they've done this. Originally, you had bolters.
Yeah, orcs with bolters. Yeah,
everyone fucking have a bolter. You had Space Marines run around. Some of them were shuriken catapults. The auto guns. You know, guards used auto guns. Anglars guns. Grots used auto guns. There was just weapons. What armor you got? Flak armor, mesh armor, power armor. Terminator armor, maybe not. I can't remember.
And it worked pretty well.
Had the same. And it was how can I get a bolter? Well, you pay your point or your 2 points. I can't remember how many points a bolter was. But your orc was 5.5 points, and it was 1 point for the flak armor, and it was 2 points for the bolter. And then it was, do you want to give him frag grenades? I'm not going to bother. Or maybe I will. Who knows? I may give him crack grenades. I'll give him a vortex grenade. That's going to fuck someone's deal. And that was a lot more balanced. And then all you had to worry about was Space Marine.
That's what I'm talking about, mate. That's
10
what
points.
I love.
And this is going back to your points thing, Dread. You just had to balance out the actual cost of the base profile.
Exactly.
Human was 5, Orc's 5.5. Why is he an extra half a point? Well, he's got 1 less initiative, but an extra point of toughness. That's worth it.
Fair.
That's worth an extra half a point of value on the model. Ballistic skills, weapon skills, strengths were all the same.
What you're saying there, Sid, is exactly what I'm basically arguing for. That's how you have a balanced game, and that's how it used to be. And it wasn't perfect, but it was a good starting point where you could go, okay, we can just improve on this. But instead, they go in completely different directions, and they move away from what was.
I think you're absolutely right. I would just say, don't use the word perfect, because I will never accept perfect.
It's not.
Second you add in dice, it can't be perfect. That's why, like, if you played a game of chess, but you add in dice rolls, the second you do that, you unbalance the game. And chess is about as balanced as it can get, but also chess isn't perfectly balanced anyway. You never get a perfectly balanced chess game.
Well, no,
unless you have 2 players of the same ability, and that is rare.
And
you
play
almost
twice.
But
yeah,
there's
Yeah.
far
And yeah, one person
far
goes
too
first.
many variables.
It's balanced. It was a draw. Both won one.
The point
This
system.
Battletech is the most balanced game because if you kill me, I can still kill you.
The point system does balance it to a certain degree, but the point system only takes certain things into account. It's not just a case of that's bigger and stronger, therefore it costs more. Because it doesn't take into account the movement, it doesn't take into account their other usefulness and things. Like grots are one of the most useful things in an orc army. They're like pretty much an auto include at this point.
Yeah, but that's because of the special rules they've got attached to them.
Not even then necessarily. When they you know, for a good few editions now, they haven't had all those special rules. They've been cheap and shitty, but they're great at doing what they do. Because guess what? It's the cheapest unit you can sit back on an objective or whatever.
That's fine. If it's a cheap unit
and it's like you're talking about older editions. You're talking about having this bygone like rose tinted way of being like, oh, remember when it was all balanced? No. Because it's never been fucking balanced. I would argue that it's more balanced now. I don't think the system of balance is perfect. I think far from it.
It depends on what kind of balance you want.
Well, the balance in the factions now, they're basing it. They can do this metal watch constantly, and they balance. So they make sure that no army gets above like 55% win ratio or below a 45. I think they got like a 10 or 5%
tournament context.
In the tournament scene. It's a flawed system.
A specific build of
skews it a bit.
Specific builds. It's a flawed system, definitely. But like you were saying earlier, Sid, about the buggies and they counterbalance it. Now I don't agree with that, but I don't agree with it because it's this constant chase for balance to appease tournament gamers and things.
But it's constant change for engagement. It's not just about
balance. and engagement. But yeah, I don't think there is any perfect system. And I think anyone is naive, frankly, to think a game with this many different factions and this many different weapons, this many different things, so many unbelievably limitless variables that you can balance it. Perfectly. Yeah, well, you can't balance.
You can definitely do a better job than they do.
Perfectly.
Even
chess isn't balanced perfectly because someone goes first.
We live in the era of machine learning.
But the parameters that you use to make that balance were what I'm arguing is that previously the parameters to create balance were better parameters than what they have now to create balance. So what I'm saying is I'm not saying everything was brilliant in the past, not at all. In fact, I even said that when I said it. It wasn't perfect. It's just a better set of parameters in order to create a balanced game.
I think the reason that the one of the reasons why they do this, I've been pretty balanced, and I've actually given some props to GW on occasion today, so I feel I've earned a little bit of tinfoil. So I'm going to put a little bit of tinfoil for a second.
You have actually been quite supportive.
Yeah. I've tried to be in the middle if I can, and to be fair, that's where my opinions are.
Win you over, mate.
No, you're fucking out on start. What was I going to say? Fuck. All right, yeah. Fine. So,
my bad.
It's a really good point as well. Fuck. Someone else talk. I'll try and.
Right, they usually take as long to get out anyway.
While you're trying to remember that point, we'll talk about the next build challenge again. I know.
Good idea.
Are we doing a knobs unit? Is that what we're doing? They seems like a very accessible unit. Knobs seem to be pretty popular at the moment. Retinues.
I think it would do well audience wise, like you say. They're popular at the moment. People will be interested in it. A lot of people are working on knobs at the moment out there.
I love my retinue idea, but we might want to leave it for a bit. I don't know what people think on that.
You can totally do that if we're doing a knob squad and you want to go. Oh well, I'm going to make mine cyborgs because they're going to be running.
I want more time to think of what I'm going to do. That's.
Well, we're not putting a date on it. We're just talking about what the next one's going to be. Yeah. You know.
Well, I think we should do them more often. I mean, I know, not everybody's.
I think the challenges definitely are. They're great. They were my idea.
I think we need to have, lots of little ones and one or occasionally a big one, and then little ones and then the big one.
Yeah, totally. I'll be honest. I have no really intention to make another whole knob squad. I've got so many fucking knobs that I'm still in the middle of fucking painting. I've made so fucking many of them. So I'll be honest, just for selfish reasons, I have no interest right now in making a fucking 5-man knob squad because I don't need them. I need loads of other stuff, much more.
Could then maybe should we consider this retinue idea then? Because if someone wanted to do a Nob Squad as retinue, totally doable. Yeah, although the retinue thing is very open, it is very open.
I think open can be a blessing though. I mean, I still personally really like the idea of legends. Are always about promoting the use of legends.
You lot
and
chuck up
promoting
some
the cool
suggestions
stuff.
as well,
Yeah,
because I mean,
definitely.
What's going on in the chat?
Throw suggestions.
If we're going to do legends, though, it wants to be more specific because legends at this stage is a codex in itself.
Yeah.
So let's be more specific about
Buggies.
what legend unit.
or any of the free buggies, so buggies, tracks, or scorches. How about that?
But that works, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because they're fucking awesome. They're really fun.
I would
Yeah.
really
And
enjoy building some buggies.
I'm totally down for this Legends thing because I'm sick of people saying, "Oh, you can't use them." Yes, you fucking can. Use the fucking.
What are you saying that?
Loads of people are saying it.
So
They're saying it
Legends.
themselves.
You can't.
Oh, I'm not allowed to.
Yeah,
Why?
on the Facebook group, you'll get someone say, "Oh, I'm going to run this," and then other people say,
yeah.
"Oh, it's gone now. You can't. You won't be able to use that."
So Legends then, is it? Are we settled on Legends? Any Legends unit? You don't have to be nailed down.
No, nail it down. Nail it down.
Don't
a
nail
little
it
bit.
down. Let
Fucking
people have a bit of
For
freedom.
any Legends unit, I'll do a kill tank again then. Fuck it.
Well, yeah,
Fine,
well,
you
fair
know.
enough. If you bothered.
Why
to do a
not? You
kill
wanted
tank
to
in the
do that
time
anyway,
frame,
so
then
that
fair play.
winner, chicken dinner.
That'll teach you.
Well, that'll teach you to compete with a kill tank with a fucking buggy, won't it?
Well,
yes,
Well,
that's
why
what
not?
Last
Still
time,
buggies there, Trent.
what did Essex make last time for the challenge?
Oh yeah.
the character
big,
challenge.
trike
He
thing, yeah.
ran away, stormed it. I came
let
with a
him.
fucking
Exactly.
runt herd.
And what
also
did
the-
Muggins do? I'm like, oh yeah, I'll build a combi flamer that's like shite in the game, but it looks cool. You know what I mean?
He
It's
came
like,
second.
It's still
Cool
fun.
as fuck.
He came second. So
I
yeah.
know, yeah, but it was fun though. I enjoyed it. I learned
He did
some new
come
skills.
second, didn't he?
Good crack. Good tips off of Sid, the electrical tape for straps. I was like, that's fucking genius.
No, I think tying it down to buggies, tracks, and scorchers is a good idea.
Well, what if someone doesn't want to make buggies?
Yeah,
What
one's
if
a
someone
Scar
wants-
doesn't want to make a buggy.
What if someone's
challenge
hankering after
Why
making?
do a challenge then? Why don't we just say, "Oh, why don't we come back in a month and show you what we've worked on?" You know.
Because I'll
Dread.
definitely get nothing done then.
King of Hyperball.
Here's all the mechs I've painted for BattleTech lately. What did you lads get up to? Hey.
The thing is,
I just
any
think that if we
challenge,
make
look,
it too open, then what's the next challenge going to be? Another very open one, and then a very. Why don't we make each one a little bit, not massively, but just a little bit specific, so we're all working on the same.
I
single
solved
thing.
this problem, and you fuckers are talking yourselves away into a different one. Just saying.
Wait, what was your solution?
Just the buggies, tracks, and scorches. Just there.
And I was down with it.
Or like
I'm not totally against it, but if you've got one person,
Codex rejects.
if
So
you've
you
got
just,
what-
here's
if
another one.
you-
Codex rejects. So if it was in an Ork Codex and it's Legends, if it's in IA8, so it's a Forge World thing, no. And there you've restricted it, but you've given a lot of options still.
Right. On that, what about this? I'm just throwing this out here. Feel free to shoot us down mercilessly. But since we know on the next meet we're going to be doing Gorka Morka, and I'll show you my Gorka Morka models.
This is a good idea already. I like it.
There they are on the good. So I've got. If you didn't get the symbol,
Mate,
Still
I'll
coming
show you
first.
my-
Don't worry, you still come first, mate.
I'll show you my Gorka Morka models. It's the stuff that's in my army, all fucking ready. I'm like,
this is
fuck
it.
it.
I mean, if there was, if I knew
Steve
what I
Orr.
was going to be taking for Gorka
Damn,
Morka,
I've got a
what the
truck.
options
I've
were.
got boys. I've got knobs.
Yeah, but this is it. I mean, I would make something for Gorka Morka, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on for so long.
Yeah, I would.
Right? But if I knew what I would, if you tell us what I need, you need trucks are trucks, right? Trucks are out of the shop. But if it was like you need a little buggy, you need a little fucking catamaran on wheels or whatever, I'll do one of those.
I'm down for a
Because let's
rebel.
face
I'm
it,
down for.
It's gonna come round pretty quick. We're talking early next year, weren't we?
Hey,
Yeah,
look,
that's the
lots of buggies in Gorka Morka. Just saying.
Can I just say though, Can I just say though, Steve-O, like that is probably my biggest pet peeve that I have in Gorkamolka is I absolutely hate it when I'm on the Gorkamolka Facebook group that me and Scar moderate.
Made.
And
made
oh,
made
isn't
that
it
group.
so great? Gorkamolka is so great because you could just use your 40k models to play the game. It's just like
could
you,
do, yeah.
you passes.
The funny thing about that
Yeah.
Facebook group is I remember making it on the bus to work when I worked in London. So you're talking about like fucking nearly a decade ago now.
Just reminds me of the days when I used to run Necromunda campaigns and fucking people would turn up with bloody Imperial Guard casque.
Happy thoughts,
These
Tim.
are basically
happy
enforcers.
thoughts. New happy thoughts we'll
Anyway,
have.
no.
Mind
I was
the bad
being
times.
good today. Let's
So
let's
it's,
not
we're,
go
we're
back.
making a vehicle for a Gorka Morka mobs. Is that what we're doing? Yeah.
Let's do it.
See what
Make
the
it-
audience are saying.
What are the
This is
audience
annoying
saying?
I'll
because
tell
this
you
means I
what,
actually need to pick
that's
which model I'm
actually
doing.
Scar. That's a fucking good suggestion. Actually, just making a vehicle for a Gorkamorka. But I am getting some yellow paint.
Yeah,
on
well
that
done,
vehicle.
Scar.
I know. I know.
So
I don't know where I come up with these ideas. Just
So
pull
people-
them from
Just-
the ether, you know.
So there were a
Yeah.
few suggestions in the comments. So we've got Cyber was like, do a Gorkamolka mob as the next challenge. So yeah, just do all of it. Yeah.
Do
yeah.
you want to see finished products on a video?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Sai's also saying make an odd boy. I mean, we more or less did that with a character challenge, didn't we? So Michael Buckley says Stomper. Yeah, let's do a Stomper. We'll just wait until Sid's just finished his, and then we'll start.
Yeah.
Never have enough.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Sid would just make another one immediately and be finished like months before everybody else anyway.
Well, he made 6 battle wagons, didn't he?
Make a
Kip
Junebug
has
saying
6
a
battle
diorama. What was Jude saying? The gate man, I should say.
Sai was saying
make
make a Gorka
something that
Morka
typically-
home fort each. Oof. That's right. We do actually have to make a fort for the fort scenario.
Yeah, Gitman saying make something that typically ties up with one of the new Orc detachments. It's not a bad idea. Sai's going Gorkamorka home fort each.
Hmm.
I'll just break out my old cardboard one and go done. Fuck yous all.
I'll just finish painting my orc huts.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, a Gorka Morka fort could literally be your orc huts with walls in between them
Yeah,
around like a central sort of
totally.
complex. Like that works perfectly.
That'd be something quite cool to do with them as well. Just make little detachable walls. Say detachable walls that you just stand in between and make like a little
Compound.
or compound.
Yeah,
that's it.
orky compound. Because that's basically what their forts are. It's like it's a fucking compound with some with a gate. You know.
Yeah.
With a grimacing gate.
I mean, it could be. Yeah.
Also, I
Well,
hate.
it was, wasn't it? The original one was.
Yeah, it had like it was like metal, but someone had like sat there with a bleeding pin hammer and like tapped like that episode of Father Ted where they're trying to get the dent.
Yeah.
out,
Get the
and they
dent
keep
out.
going.
Yeah.
And then lo
Yeah,
and
yeah.
behold, there's an orc visage on the front. Ah, well, look, it's grand, you know.
I mean, there's that other one as well that I forgot I mentioned earlier, which is Orky themed Blood Bowl teams, but not the Orc team. So that's an option as well. Just a thought.
No,
No.
I've no interest in a
That's a-
team that
that's
is
a
not
big-
team for Blue Bulk. Way out of.
No.
There are other fun teams.
Yeah,
The
but they're not
Goblin team.
orcs. Pardon me,
Still,
bollocks.
still
Listen,
a big fan
after the match
of
we had the
um,
last time we were in your gaff, I'm definitely not veering away from orcs. I've
I'm
literally
still a
never
big-
seen someone get the absolute shite kicked out of them. It's brilliant.
There are even more brutal teams. Oh, that's the irony.
Oh, that's
Still a
good.
big fan
Oh,
of
Scare,
the,
check out this undefeated team I have. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
really?
Should what that taught me is never paint my mages. Right.
Tempted fate, mate. That's what that
Finally
was.
painted them, and they fucking got their ass handed to them. It's like
Dude,
never. paint a
everyone
Blood Bowl
knows
again.
this. Everyone knows this. The minute you paint a unit and you put it on the table, it's the first thing that dies. It's
Yeah.
always
Is
going
that
to be
just
the way.
because your mates know it's the newly painted thing? They're like, fucking
I
get
think
it.
so.
Get it.
Yeah.
Crush your
Yeah,
fucking
cool.
dreams.
I mean, it was in your case, wasn't it, Scar? So let's be honest, it probably is the case.
What was
most of the
newly
time.
painted? Well, yeah, I suppose most of my army was newly painted, so I was like,
Yeah, exactly. You
what can you do?
paint. Yeah.
Or I still can't
No
get over
spoilers.
that trike, that Warboss trike, and the big battle we had in the last me. Just
Fuck off.
straight up the middle, and poof, gone.
That's why, if you watch that video with Sid that I put out on the Tuesday, it was like, well, this Warboss on Trike is going to hide behind the battle wagon because he's had a few bad experiences just lately.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
Still got beat up, though, didn't he?
Ah, look.
It was a small board, though.
I was very small, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is good.
That kind of move to sort of maneuver the battle wagon to sort of block you off was good, and I should have come up with that the round before that.
Junebug was saying make a diorama.
I like that.
It's not a bad idea. Difficult to fly over in a suitcase, but yeah, not a bad idea.
I mean, you say that your army is basically a diorama.
Oh yeah, the flying one. Yeah.
As is my war trike. Actually, thinking about it, because that's basically a diorama as well, sort of. Although I didn't get all of it done that I wanted done in the time. I don't think that was the case for most of us, other than probably Sid. I don't know. Steve, did you add anything new to yours, or was it just
What's that, mate?
For the list from Thousand Pods?
A lone runt herd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the new thing in my list.
But most of mine was new.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you finished everything probably. You
yeah.
probably didn't feel, oh, there's more I could have done. Whereas I think that was very much more the case for me and Scar, I know.
Ah, yeah.
Oh,
Don't know about Dread.
I didn't finish what I wanted to finish. I wanted to finish some other Death Dreads, and then the terrain wasn't even fully finished either.
You didn't.
Still...
Oh, that was it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I thought...
so there was quite a bit, and this is why I'm to viewers as well. If it disappoints you, this is why I'm apprehensive of some of the larger challenges.
Because we know ourselves too well, some of us.
Well, I know myself too well, and look, I'm a working dad.
No way,
both adults in this household work full time. I don't have much free time. I really, really don't. So I whenever it comes to anything like this, if it's not gonna be something I would have worked on anyway, I ain't doing it. Yeah, I just ain't. I just don't, because otherwise I'm going to spend tiny bit of hobby time I've got doing something I don't want to do.
Well, do you want to choose all the challenges?
Never going to work. No, I'm not saying that. What I would mean.
Sounds like that's what you say.
No,
well,
what
I'm
I
not
would
saying
do,
that, but
Sid,
if you won't play my game, I'm going home.
No.
What
What
do you think you are, Dread?
is sit out of certain challenges. You know.
I was going to say you can sit out. It's fine.
Yeah,
that's another way of saying it.
You know,
it's been pretty. I'm not playing this game.
We're not.
And then on a Dread, you sit out on anything. You set your own rules to anything. The amount of times you've said, if we're not doing this, I'm out.
Always been right about those things.
Always. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. No, you fucking haven't. And we will argue to the end of time about that.
And we will all get endless.
The original premise of these challenges, I still think is really good, is all the same kit done 6 different ways. I think that's a fantastic.
But that doesn't have to be the challenge every time. But we
it doesn't. It doesn't.
That a few times, absolutely, because I still think our best challenge was the Squig Boogie one. I'm not going to lie, I do think it was the best challenge we did. But
well, I say that.
Yeah, but that is exactly Steve-O's exactly
what
I intended to. I bought the kit. It's still unassembled. Still.
I would have thought that counts.
You're now
what you want to do, Scar? Unpack it, pop it in a Quality Street box, and you are golden, my friend.
I agree with Steve-O now, because he's now singing out of my hymn book and arguing against what he was previously saying, which is, we should just open it up to all of the fucking legends. Now he's saying, let's all work on the same kit. Now I agree.
Yeah, but it's also wildly open, because you can build whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, but we're all working on the same thing, which is the important thing.
Is it the important thing? Like, what was wrong with
I think it is. I think it is.
No, the important thing is
if it's completely open. If it's completely open, then what do you do next time?
The important thing is the showcase conversion. That's it.
Whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, a category is good, but it can be a fairly open category. You can still differentiate between stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the viewers.
I thought Legends was quite a good one, because it's got the options that if you want to do something a bit bigger, like a Chinook or even a kill tank or whatever, You could.
It's
but if you
accessible.
wanted to do
It's
something
accessible
like
for
a,
everyone.
I mean,
Yeah, but
Christ,
you run the risk of if you're going to finish it in time.
isn't a knob with Warbanner Legends now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, your
Quite a lot of
little
Legends.
buggies and war tracks and stuff.
Oh,
like
the shit.
I mean, we
tons.
could sanitize it a bit. We could go right, okay,
Christ,
legends
you
but
could have
only
it as a
bikes,
characters now.
legends but only characters, legends but only vehicles. We could do that, or legends but infantry units. We could do those
That's
things.
fine,
But
yeah.
yeah,
Little
but I
bit
mean,
different.
yeah, I just want to get to the comments though because we've got some fucking good shit going on.
Yeah, there's one
send
there
the
from Tommy.
comments.
So so Eric, I'll just mention Eric briefly. He's, oh well, I will start with Wurzag's Morky Mischiefs, great name. The Ork Warbosses, just so long as you remember who's the prophet. Oh yeah, it's Gas. Yeah, of course it. Sci-fi's like, so what legends units would each Warboss like to make? I think we should do that as the next thing we talk about, but do want to mention Tommy's point here. You should do a challenge where you start a project and send it to the next Warboss and add something to it.
Oh,
Similar to what
thing
happened on the
again.
forum, on the War forum. Absolutely. I've
We
been
did
trying to get
discuss
these
this
guys
before, didn't we? A
to
long
do the
time
Orc
ago.
the Red challenge for fucking ages. Absolutely want to do that. I'm pushing for it, mate. It'll happen because I want it to happen badly.
Well, you know how you make that happen is you start the project and then you send it on to the next person and you go,
Yeah.
here's the thing.
I might just do it on the sly one time and just start
A
it.
challenge
and
I'm looking forward to in the future is when we all kit bash our own grot bots.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that too.
That's a challenge
Absolutely.
I'm definitely looking forward to.
I am absolutely looking forward to that because I've got loads of bits and bobs, and that's something that is going to get the creative juices flowing.
Once that game's released, I think the community would be would all start getting involved in on that. The grot bot challenge.
I even wrote on Dim's fridge when I went around there, crack on and get them fucking rules written, mate.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
In some way or another.
I'll work on that. I mean, I've already got the base rules done. I just need to.
In fact, Dim, I don't think we should see you again until it's finished.
Yeah.
You need to go away and work on it.
Bye.
I don't want to see
you next week.
That was the last we ever
See
saw
you
him.
next week with the finished PDF.
Yeah, no, fuck no. So, what Legends units would you like to make? That's
I would most likely go
What's
for
the
the
restriction
standard.
No, just Legends. Full stop.
All right, okay.
I would most likely go for the standard buggy, and because I've got some ideas, I've got some bits put aside and some ideas of other bits that I think would make cool looking buggies. And yeah,
Scorcher. I mean, I'm already kind of
Right, I'll do a buggy then. I'm doing a buggy then.
most of the way there on the Mechon bike, which is a repurposed thing I made in on a competition very long moons ago. That was like, oh god.
I'm always going to look forward to seeing what you churn out for a buggy, Dim, because I know it's going to be something completely.
I've had all sorts. I've had all sorts of daft ideas for what to do. Yeah.
Oh, you are always the wild card in any of these challenges we'll do. You're always.
Yeah.
I personally the
Usually
challenge
you
that
break the rules.
well, yeah. What's the point in having rules if not to break them?
Exactly.
That's the point of
It's
them,
a shame that paint job on those Grot Mega Tanks wasn't a part of some competition. Because I'll be honest with you, like that is, I definitely was well impressed with those Mega Grot Tanks. That blue, I was just like, fucking man, they look well.
I hated it.
Oh, he did.
I know you
geez,
did.
He thought,
I know you
want to
did.
see him the night before, lads? He thought he fucked it up. He was furious.
I thought I'd ruined them.
They look fucking mint. They look so good.
And bearing in mind, I've finished the paint job more or less as I think, like, I was just thinking, I just can't. I kind of suspected the Forge World was going the way of the Dodo, and I'm just like, if I ruin these, I can't replace them. Even though I could easily make Grot Mega Tanks of my own, but still, they turned out all right in the end. I wanted them.
Great, mate.
Once I saw them on a battlefield and saw them during games, I was like, all right, yeah.
When
They're
you're
not
holding
bad,
the
they're
miniature
fucking
like
awesome.
this, you're a really poor judge of how good it is, isn't it? It's when it's there as part of it, you're like, oh, actually, that does not look shit. That actually looks really good. But
Yeah, that would have won a competition if that was part of one.
I ain't winning any painting competitions.
So
that's
we've
for
agreed to not quite disagree, but kind of agree on the next challenge build, and we should probably leave it for there for tonight because it is now 20 to the midnight. We have run way over time, gents.
I've remembered what my argument was from earlier.
Well, it's too bleeding late now. Write it down for the next
Post it in the
episode.
comments.
Put it in the comments.
He
We've
means
managed
his
to
cock.
get
No, that
a
wasn't it.
couple of mechs base coated and some washing them in front of a green screen and the green. So there you go. That's the hobby progress I got. What did you lads do?
I got a bit of yellow on my feral orcs on the straps. Now I've been going very leisurely pace, just the odd glyph and the odd bit of armor and that on them. Just getting
Not a
some little
majorly
touches of
intensive
yellow.
conversion, but I have a snaky Nid army,
Ooh.
and I bought the what's it called, Neurolictor. Because it was like, this is so snaky.
That's got very StarCraft vibes to it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Tim, I meant to say, you know the winged nids, the gargoyles?
yes,
I've got a box of them without wings if you want them.
yeah,
And they've got
Absolutely.
no legs. So they're just
Absolutely.
little snakes
Yes.
with arms.
I absolutely will take those off you. Yes, yes, yes,
Rivets.
please.
Rivets mostly.
Rivets
That's
on
what
the
I've
ground.
been
This
painting.
week I have mostly been making
Rivets.
I've built up a bit more wall
Ooh, nice.
Oh yeah.
around the front, including a nice little bit with some mesh in, if I can get me
Yeah, I
yeah,
see
I
it
can see
there.
it.
wherever it
yeah.
is. Do know.
Other
Yeah.
side, yeah, see it, yeah.
Hang on. Sid, you speak so I can see.
I will speak so Dread can say this
Oh,
is
yeah, that's
how the
awesome.
internet works.
Oh yeah, I like the mesh bit. Yeah.
And look, I put a screw in as well.
I know. I noticed that. I thought it was like some kind of.
It's just so I can lift the lid off because I built up the back bit. So
Give it a little handle.
yeah, it's just a handle. That's going to be covered up. But I've been putting little sort of supports on the back as well, just to show where the extra armor plates are. And I've got to make sure I don't block those. I block the lid in, by
Sensing what you're about to do.
broaching.
Sensing what you're about to do on the top, Sid. Because presumably, are you mounting the guns on the top?
I'm mounting the big guns on the top. I think the Super Gatler might.
How are you set for sort of brought ammunition crew? Because if you want any, let me know. I can definitely part with some.
Yeah, if you've got some, mate. At the moment, I've got nothing because I've used them all. But on the bottom, I have
loads, and I no longer need.
You heard him, audience.
So,
if you want any grot crew, right, PO box on the hobby kit.
But the bottom's going to have.
Not palm all of them, you cunts.
You know, underneath like a bomber, you had like the gunner sphere. I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get one of you can get these caged sort of balls with a rotor blade in them, and you throw it and it sort of flies along. It's basically just
yeah.
the ball about the size of a tennis ball, but it's made like a cage. I always wanted to do a buggy out of one, like do a buggy with a gyroscopic seat in the middle. Just have like a sort of just roll it around like a death ball, just with a little orc inside.
Have you not seen that? There is an orc tires with the guns on the side. Have you not seen someone?
Oh yeah, but this would be a whole sphere, not just a tire. But anyway, I was going to get a couple of those, and one half would be sitting under here with some guns sticking out, including the big cock gun for the Mega Gatlar Storm Death Muggle shooter.
Wanker.
So that normally has a drum barrel. You should try and source a second drum.
One either side.
That's the clears.
Hey. And there we are for this episode, folks. So remember, don't forget to drill your barrels.
This is 6 plus Steve-O signing out.
See you later.
Yeah,
Enough
bye.
said from Dread.
Oh, you wankers. We had it then. We fucking had it.